Hello, everybody. Hello, and welcome.
Hi.
Can
Hello.
everybody hear me now? Hi. Hello.
Yeah,
Yeah, we
Good.
I can hear
can.
you right
Cool.
now.
That's so weird.
We almost had tech issues.
All right. That's fine. Hi. Welcome back, everybody. Well, everybody we're minus our kobold today. We're missing. So what we're gonna do today for this episode is we're gonna record the episode shoulder height and above on average humans, and then whether Ishi's there or not, no one will ever know.
Yeah, exactly.
It'll be fine.
Perfect.
And we'll just get the audio mixer to mix all the high end out of the audio, and then we're fine. So Elf is away this episode on doing holiday travel things, and so was not able to join us. But yeah, so this is actually a good opportunity to talk about what to do in Dungeons and Dragons when you're missing a character. So sometimes in an ongoing campaign, you have a player that's not able to make a session, and then you have to decide what to do. And often people will say, someone else just play their character. But I never felt that good about that. I never felt like as a player or as a GM, like maybe for some groups that works, or like if we've played like basic D&D and that's fine, right? Because your character is just like a pawn you move around.
I was a little bummed when I got Chunk Flunkins killed.
Yeah. I mean, but John, player of Chunk T. Flunkins, didn't mind so much.
Yeah.
You didn't get Chunk killed in as much as I killed Chunk.
Let's not talk about the ill fate of Chunk Flunkins.
Of that whole adventuring party, every one of them died.
Except for the
yeah, I mean this comes up, and that's certainly a solution, right? If you have a bunch of characters, bunch of players, you can say, all right, well, you're okay to play my character. So like Little Fox could play Ishi, but even then, it's a lot of pressure for the player who's playing that character to make the right decision for them. So you can also have the GM play them, which is the same solution to that problem, and honestly, just makes the GM's job more work, which I'm not.
You got enough stuff to do in D&D.
Exactly, that's right.
As the GM,
I got a bunch of stuff, and I got to run this whole stream situation. So I like the idea where we treat this like it is a television show with an ensemble cast, and we just Geordie LaForge this shit. It's not like just because Geordie's not on screen doesn't mean he's not on the Enterprise. He's just doing his own thing. He's just got other stuff going on.
You don't want me to do the Ishi Snaggletooth voice?
I mean,
do it
we
right
could,
now.
Yeah, we could all. I was playing a game the other day, and I was doing a kobold voice, and I was like, oh wait, I'm just imitating Elf. But yeah, I mean, we could have a Ishi impression off if you want to.
No, Blue Jay already does the best Ishi impression.
What are you talking about?
I'm really better at playing, making fun of dumb half-orc barbarians. Not so much with the kobolds. So
one day we should do an all goblin or all kobold.
Right,
D&D.
we could finally find out who is best in caves.
Yeah.
Who is best in caves competition?
So there is a game. There's a game called No Country for Old Kobolds. That is about that very thing. You play a clan of kobolds, so that's a thing we could certainly do.
That's pretty great.
I feel like there are a few tropes that happen in every D&D game after a certain point where, like, you get tired of playing at a party of adventurers, and you're like, well, let's all play evil characters, and then you get tired of that, and you're like, well, let's all play monsters. Let's do inverse D&D. We have to protect our village from the scary, and then you're like, well, let's do time travel. That's a thing, right? Like, I feel like there's these arcs that we all go on, and then eventually someone in the group is like, let's play vampire. And then you do that.
Well, I feel like in this group, I went, that's pretty much what happened. Ceres was the good character, and then Oleander was the bitch, and then now I'm playing a monster, a Triton. So next we're doing time travel. Is that right?
The only thing I'm ever gonna remember about Oleander is Cialis of the Woods. her sudden and terrible romance with mighty Cialis, Ranger of the Woods.
I only ever remember how easy it was to kill.
Can you not?
So, yeah. Who knows? Perhaps episode 12, perhaps the 12th episode, will be the last episode of Roll20 Presents Dungeons & Dragons Tomb of Annihilation, because we don't have our little kobold mascot here to keep the team together.
Yeah, everyone just leaves.
Ishi's gonna come back and be like, yo, what's going on? What's the adventure? And be like, everybody just disbanded.
It's just Little Fox being like, I
don't know. Even Little Fox doesn't like you anymore.
Yeah, Arcturus just went to the city.
How dare you?
Eric Okrins and everyone else, I don't know, died in the jungle probably.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So we had a brief episode plagued by the dark influence of gremlins. Last time Gond abandoned us and our technical situation fell apart, but we're back in business. I made all the appropriate sacrifices. My computer is slathered in the sacred unguents right now. It's so slathered you don't even know.
They help with cooling.
Yeah, just so slathered right now, and we're ready. It's been anointed, and we're ready to rip it out. So I think just as players, rather than as like I'm the GM and you're the players and we're gonna play the game, but as people playing the game, do we want to just jump in on the like you and the captain, like the three of you and the captain have set off to the north to find the missing soldiers? Should we just jump to that?
I mean, but I thought that you mentioned that that's not something that we can just do.
What do you mean?
Didn't you say that when you were saying, like Malik was talking, like asking permission from the sister, what's her face, Sister Scissor or whatever, and
that is definitely not her name. That is
Scissor Sisters is a disco band.
Yeah, disco revival band.
Yeah.
Her name is Sister Siren, I think, or Cyrus or something. I don't know. NPCs don't get names. Sias.
NPCs.
Sister Sias.
Anyway, like when Malik was asking for her permission to take Arcturus into the jungle, didn't you explicitly mention that it wasn't just going to be that easy? Like if she said yes, we couldn't just then walk out.
Right. So what I'm saying is maybe we can just like elide that. Maybe we can say you came to some arrangement where you're under the guard. It's the captain's basically life on the line, right? Like if the captain comes back without you, she will be in huge trouble. And likely be like drawn and quartered for right. So rather, because otherwise we're going to be in this negotiating period where Ishii would want to be present. What we're doing here is taking a step back from the realism of the simulation that is Dungeons and Dragons, and instead recognizing that we're all playing a game and creating a narrative together, and we want to make it the most fun for everybody. So I'm proposing that we just kind of jump a little ahead and we fade in on the jungle and be like, it's a foregone conclusion that these buttheads made you do what they want.
Right.
Yeah.
Does that feel okay for everybody?
And that Ishii is stuck digging latrines.
Yeah, maybe. I'd like to take the torchbearer approach, and we'll ask Ishii. I'll get one of you to recap this episode, and then we'll ask Ishii, okay, Ishii, while all that was happening, what were you up to? And Ishii could be like, I was following them through the jungle, or
she's on a caper.
Yeah.
I think that she was definitely stealing things to try and get those swords.
Well, yes, and exactly. And what I would love to do is give Elf the opportunity to 4th edition like Dungeon Master's Guide to skill challenge that bullshit and be like, cool, lay out the plan, we'll make a couple of skill checks, we'll kind of figure out how that went, and then we could fade in on Ishii telling you the story about like, and then I ran away from the guy, you know, like
perfect, you did it.
So we'll figure it out. It's not so much about the pitch or the tone or doing the funny voice, it's the way that Elf has a very specific kobold pausing structure to the way that she talks.
The like cadence of her speech.
Yep. Like it's
great.
She's got
before we do any of that, can I
say.
roll my hit points?
She's got too much to say and not enough time to say it. Yes. So leveling up. Everybody is level 4 now.
Yeah.
Mighty level 4. You're almost real D&D characters. So Arcturus, I assume as usual, everybody is taking a level of the class they're currently in.
Yep.
Indeed.
Okay.
Yeah,
So
she was the difficult one.
Yes, which is fine. She's bought herself another week. So yeah, let's start with Arcturus. You seem ready to roll. You want to literally you're ready to roll.
I want to roll my hit points. I'm not gonna just take the. Okay,
we'll give chat a moment to have an aneurysm over what a tactically poor decision that is.
Yep.
Chat. I'm gonna count down from 5. Please feel free to be as upset as you like. 5.
So wait, am I rolling
4,
a D8?
When I get to 0, you're not allowed to be upset anymore. 3, 2, 1. All right, you're done. So yeah, let me get to the stuff here. It's gonna be what's your Constitution bonus?
It's +3.
There they go.
So a D8 +3.
You are very constitutional.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think your hit dice are a D8.
She's constant.
All right, chat. I'm doing it.
I would.
You gotta lend her your strength, chat, because it's very important.
Excellent.
Average.
Excellently below average.
That's 1 below average.
Yeah.
Below average.
I did it.
You did it.
I did it.
That's about how I feel about Arcturus, honestly. He's just
Come on.
Slightly
Wow.
below average.
Harsh tokes. Okay, now at level 4, you get either an ability score improvement or a feat. Did you decide what you want?
Oh, I took a feat. I think it's called Resilient. So I put 1 extra point into my Constitution, and I have proficiency in Constitution saving throws.
Does your additional point in Constitution increase your
No.
con? Oh, it doesn't increase your con modifier. Okay.
No, I was at evens for everything.
And what was the other thing that it does for you?
I get proficiency with Constitution saving throws.
Oh, dope.
Yeah.
Which is
Not
great.
them throat leeches.
Yeah, it's all that throat leeches.
I mean, that's
normally something like that. This is what's so great about and so interesting about playing a pre-arranged, like pre-designed campaign is that that's actually a solid tactical choice based on what's happened so far and the fact that you're in the jungle and that's the kind of thing Arcturus is going to run up against all the time. I like it.
So I was slightly under the wrong impression in terms of which feat you took. Might I make a small suggestion? You're free to obviously completely disregard this, but since you're not, I thought you were going up to an even with Resilient. You can have You can have advantage on the spellcasting half of your saving throws still if you take Warcaster, but you also get a bunch of extra stuff, which is probably more useful than.
I've looked at Warcaster. Yeah, and the thing is that the Constitution saving throws I'm doing are rarely, if ever, to hold a spell because I don't have a lot of con spells.
Yeah, Arcturus mostly just explodes things.
Yeah, so it's not that valuable to me.
So it's
for the type of cleric that I am.
That's fair enough. It's fair enough.
Yeah, I only have like 1 or 2 spells that require concentration. So
yeah. So this is all Constitution saves. You get your bonus too, and then extra. I like it. Okay, cool. Little Fox, you're taking another level in Barbarian.
Yep, I just bumped my Dex and Con up to 16 each.
Okay.
So I have 45 hit points now. My AC is now 16.
Nice.
And I don't get anything too terribly exciting at level 4 for Barbarian.
Level 4 for Barbarian isn't such a big deal, I don't think. Okay. And then Dave, you're gonna take another level of Sorcerer?
Sure am.
And which feat have you chosen?
I didn't. I just took 2 points to bump Charisma to 20.
Oh, nice. So charismatic.
Mm.
So that's good. That'll help with your spellcasting. And then you get some additional spell slots, right? You get one more.
I learned a new spell. I got some new spell slots and another sorcery point.
Okay. And what new spell did you take?
Well, I'm glad you asked. Based on the current situation, I thought it might be useful to pick up Suggestion.
Nice. Okay. All right. So Suggestion allows you to magically influence a creature you can see within range that can hear and understand you. You're getting down that. You're taking your first step down that dark wizard path.
Yep.
Mind control. All right, Mentok.
How to make friends and influence people as a wizard.
Mm-hmm. Yep. How to be a terrible person. We'll see how Malik uses it. I trust Malik with this dark sorcery for now. We'll see. We'll see where we are at like level 18. Okay, great. So everybody's all leveled up. We got some new hit points. We'll find out what Ishii takes as her level up next episode. But let me gather my party and venture forth to the player's map of Chult. There we go. So here we are. Here we are again in the jungles of Chult. You've been given an assignment by the awfully charismatic, awfully delightful captain, or I guess commander. It comes direct from the commander of the Order of the Gauntlet here. Niles Breakbone, who has suggested politely that you and one of his captains take a group of men and head north into the jungle to recover some previous patrollers who did not return. Now, folks who are watching at home, if you are watching this on Twitch, keep an eye on the fact that you're seeing my version of the map. So there are all kinds of secrets laid out before you. Let's try to keep those secrets from our players, because keeping secrets from your players is fun. So so before you lies a path. You can see highlighted in red the X there marked on your map, And where to? What's the plan, my friends? You just you head straight north?
I suppose, yeah, we want to get this done as quickly as possible.
Yeah, we're gonna go like this, and then like that.
Okay.
Yeah, I suppose it depends. Do we know previously what their patrol path was, just in case they went in specific hexes?
Why don't we warm up on that? I'm gonna grab her character sheet in case there's trouble. So Captain Selhana is there, decked out in her scale armor, carrying her appropriate weapons, and you are also sent with a group of guards. Yeah. So there's a group of these guys. Let me just check how many he sent along with you. Let's see. Devout worshiper of Tyr, dedicated to the order, kind of a prick. Doesn't say that. That's me editorializing this character. Let's see. Okay. So it looks like he sent four guards with you and the captain. So you and this group of 5 miserable members of the order have begun your trek out into the jungle. And little fucks, these guys clearly have no idea what they're doing. They're just kind of like stumbling through the jungle. It's a lot of like there's a clear way where if they like moved a couple of bushes, they could go around, but there's a lot of just chopping, and they're exhausted already. You're several hours out and they're sweating, and they're wearing the wrong kind of garb for it, though that's true of some of your party. And not making any effort on stealth or anything like that. So they're making their way. And Captain Saldana doesn't look. She looks like she knows that this is not. They're out of their element, right? So she's trying her best, but she's not trained for this kind of thing. And and they're having a rough time. You can see why Camp Vengeance is in such bad conditions. And so this is partway through like the first day. You've left the camp behind and headed north out into the jungle, and there is evidence of, at least out here, things being drawn to the camp. There's lots of like Saurian footprints. Lots of dinosaurs have kind of come into this area and been scared off because the camp, like the soldiers, just no ability to really like hide out in the jungle. So it kind of drew attention. So the area is going to be maybe a bit higher in activity than you're used to because of the camp. So I think you set out in the morning. It's muggy, it's hot, it's damp. There's a mist kind of hanging in the morning air as you head out. And you were saying you wanted to talk to the captain. Somebody wanted an opportunity to see like what their patrol routes were or something like that.
Yeah, just so we can see whether the hexes that we take would take us through the same places that they do, just in case that helps us avoid.
Okay, so what does that conversation look like? What are you asking, Malik?
So we've already had the conversation where she basically thinks that they're already dead. She's made that apparent to me.
Yes.
But I'm very deferential. I call her captain because I ostensibly also have a rank now.
That's right. You've been drafted.
Oh yeah, I don't know the proper protocol. Malik would have no reason to know that. Never been in the military, but tries to be polite. Captain, do we have any idea of the path that this particular patrol was going to take through the jungle?
She shakes her head and she says, "We sent a lieutenant into the jungle. He took his men. They were looking for the source of some of the undead. I mean," she looks around like kind of nervously. They can't just be coming from nowhere. These bodies have to be dug up from graves or something. So he went north. That's where usually the attacks are coming from. But he didn't come back.
While we're out here, actually, there was information about abandoned civilizations. Perhaps not in this exact direction, but something like that could be a good source for fresh corpses to feed the jungle.
She chuckles darkly. I mean, I don't know about fresh, but corpses. Sure, this place is just lousy with ruins.
Well, I suppose I found a little bit of extra inspiration to want to go for myself personally, but that's neither here nor there, really. So, taking a look at her and her guards, how are they equipped?
So they all have.
Are they guards? Because I know guards.
Well, I can tell you this: they're carrying shields, battle scarred but marked with the symbol of the Order of the Gauntlet. They're wearing chain shirts and pot helmets, and are carrying spears. And then the captain is similarly equipped, but has a long sword and no shield, and she has a heavy crossbow across her back.
Mm-hmm. Which she shouldn't use because she has multi-attack.
Yes, she shouldn't use it because she has multi-attack.
I remember that from gosh, what was it? Was it White Plain Mountain?
Is it
Adventurers League.
Mm-hmm.
as a just like a bit of housekeeping?
Mm-hmm.
Before we left, Arcturus would have done what he's here for, and what he prepped for the night before, cast lesser restoration.
Mm-hmm.
I was just wondering, should I just give up? Like mechanically, there were like 10. You said 10 people,
Mm-hmm.
so I should just say that all of my second level spells are gone then.
Yeah, I think if that was the plan, if it was wake up, cast the spells, and then head out, yeah.
Because that's the whole reason that he's there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and just hope that you don't run into anything today.
Yep.
Okay. All right. So yeah, I think that you take a good look at these men, and they were trained in cities or villages or conscripted in monasteries in northern climates, right? At least from here, right? Some of them might be from Tithir or but to them that's the far north. Given this terrible jungle, they're not equipped or armored. The head kind of council of the Order of the Gauntlet just doesn't have any information about what Chult is like, and so sends men armed the way it expects to fight, say, orcs in the mountains of the north. So they're having a rough time.
Yeah. So I imagine we're gonna let Little Fox just decide which the best way is. Then, as the primary survivalist and navigator, there's probably some light conversation around those sorts of topics with the captain, if I'm permitted, because I would like to get on her good side. I'll tell you my plan as a character, and we can RP out as much as is necessary. But I really would like, by the time we finish this, to have her on my side, in case we decide to change the leadership structure of the camp when we get back.
Malik's working the charm the whole time.
I don't know what
Yeah.
I don't know what Malik's secret diplomacy skills are like, but Dave's certainly got that mutiny plan going. Well, let me start a countdown clock. We'll call
Fair
it
enough.
Friends with the Captain. And why don't you make a persuade roll, start us off, just from that conversation of like asking her about what's going on and kind of like just showing her you give a shit.
Yeah.
So I have a thought just occurred to me.
Yep.
Which is a great way to do this kind of thing would be working at like death saves.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Where it's like successes over a certain threshold, you get a certain number of them, or if you get a certain number of failures first, then that person isn't into it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And you just go from there.
As I was jokingly saying before, it's exactly like 4th edition skill challenges.
Yeah.
You can make a certain number of them in the time you're fucking sweet. All right, cool. Your friendship gets a critical success on its death save. And I think that you have this conversation with her, and maybe she stops you at some point. Like everyone else is a little bit ahead, and she stops you, and she looks at you. So there's a like rattling of her armor, and She looks at you, and like everybody, a few hours into the jungle, she's like a little sweaty. She brushes some hair back from her forehead, and she says, "Look, I know that you just sort of wandered into Breakbone's influence, and you don't want to be here. And I would love to just look the other way and let you go, but." She looks over. She's like, "We're all out here in the jungle now. I have to look out for my men." Tears hand to my heart. I'm sorry that this happened to you, but maybe we can make the best of it.
Perhaps as a group, we wouldn't have made the decision to come in. Would we know that we would be conscripted, forced into this? But understanding the plight that you find yourselves in, despite all the good intentions in the world, I can't say I wouldn't have come anyway in that case. I hope that there's something I can do by being here.
You have to understand these men are trapped between practicality and faith. They came here, promised they would fight evil, and we have seen it. The dead rising from the jungles, these terrible beasts. It's as close as any of these men have seen to a dragon in their lives. They were raised on stories that life is black and white, good and evil, and that evil dwelt here in the jungle. And they came here, and this is what they found. Disease, poison, death. Many of them will not see home, but to give up is to give up faith. If I tell them there is another way, then I fear this scaffolding that holds them up will collapse. And she looks over, and you see, like, really, like, to the point, because, we know this is like a show. You look over, and there's two of the guards, and they're like, they're praying. Maybe they found like a sign of their companion, someone's broken sword lying on the path. So the two of them, one of them is clutching a holy symbol, and the other is like saying some words quietly. And she looks at you, and she says, Breakbone is he's a stern man and good at heart, I think, but as with many men of faith, he finds he has nothing left. He's going to be very hard to deal with. Perhaps if we can bring him some good news. She looks the way that you're going, and then back to you. I think of all the things that we have seen here, the most obvious sign that the gods are still watching is your arrival. I know, not for you, but for us. You represent hope.
Well, then I hope we can return with just a little bit more than we set out with.
She nods and says, as do I. She looks at you kind of like helplessly, like she's trying real hard but doesn't know like what else to say. Like she hopes you understand her, but
that's fine. Yeah, like to have access to that vulnerability, I suppose, is like, and I don't want to push it yet. Because
yeah, and that's very much what it is, right? Where she's saying to you, like, I'm different than my commander. I'm different than these soldiers because I see what they don't or what they refuse to.
Yeah, it's perfect. Perfect start to that relationship.
Okay, great. So you head out into the jungle. Arcturus, do you bless the party with Istitia's mighty guidance?
Every day. All the time. Istitia blesses my every action in this jungly horribleness.
Okay. Nice.
And then we'll do the usual little fox leading with our
Malik.
Malik helping.
Well, now here's the thing: if Malik is focusing on his relationship with the captain, I don't think he's free to be.
Then maybe he's not helping
you. Yeah,
that's true.
Great. Well, I can do it on my own.
I don't have survival trained, but I do have +3 in it. I don't know if.
I think yeah. I mean, you don't have anything else that you're doing during the day,
Nope.
so you could be conscripted by Little Fox to help out.
Sure.
Yeah, that's even though I'm proficient in it, you still have a higher bonus than me, so maybe it ends up that you take my spot on doing that every day. Depends if we get lost.
Yeah, working with Little Fox, there's lots of gruff pointing and, her disappearing off into the woods and coming back and stuff like that. So it doesn't provide Arcturus much opportunity for conversation, which he might miss from their previous way of traveling.
Oh man, Why did she stay? You should stay behind.
So
It's
you're
much quieter in the jungle.
so you're gonna help out Arcturus,
Yeah.
and then what's
Should I roll the guidance?
yeah, roll the guidance for me. Yeah, what's the guidance? Because that's the thing I really need.
Ugh.
Oh dear. All right.
Tisha is not about today.
Too many other gods about in this.
So
party.
it's +6 then total.
Mm-hmm.
Is that right, little fox?
3 is my bonus.
So 4. Okay.
Or sorry, 5 is my bonus. Never mind.
Yeah,
Yeah,
plus
I'm
six.
super good.
Okay. All right. Okay. All right. So you're heading north through the jungle, and that's the plan. Go into that hex there.
Mm-hmm.
Sure.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, essentially go directly north and then over 1 to the left once we get to that spot.
All right.
Hey, can we go that way instead just to unlock more hexes? Because I really want to get rid of all of them.
Right. That's Dave's plan is to clear all. You get an achievement. You get an achievement if you
okay.
clear all the Fog of War. So-
For the POs, let's do it.
Doesn't make any
Go into
difference.
it's just like skulls under this covered
Oh,
hex.
Right,
Just skulls
little
away.
known fact. This is Tomb of Annihilation. Roll20 presents Tomb of Annihilation presents Minesweeper. So just be careful. Be careful where you go. Okay, so this day you head out into the jungle, and you're in regular jungle, and everything is going just fine and according to plan until somewhere in the afternoon. Oh, this is a good one. Okay, so partway through the afternoon, you see let's roll to see if you sneak up on them. I think there's a chance they'll see you. I'm gonna roll a perception check, just with a regular DC, because you're not trying actively to sneak, and you got a big group. And if so, you'll if I succeed, you'll both see each other at the same time. You'll kind of stumble on them. So let me take a quick look at this group.
Oh man, 1d3 halfling merchants, here we come.
All right. Aha. All right. So they're distracted. So here's what you see. I guess Arcturus and Little Fox, you're the ones that stumble on them. And here's what you see. You see a group of a considerable group of people. Let me see how many there are. Okay, all told, there are 7 of them. There is one person that looks like a Chultan, like a guide, maybe. He's wearing, he has the dark skin of a indigenous Chultan. He has like traveler's gear, not carrying a big backpack, but he does have a bow, and he seems to be leading the group. They've stopped for a minute. He's accompanied by, there are 6. They look like Chondathans, or a mix of Chondathan, Tetherian Omnians, like paler skin. They look like the guys you're traveling with, honestly. But they're wearing mostly leather or studded leather armor, and they seem better equipped for stealthily moving through the jungle. And so there's that group, and they are led by there's a woman. She's wearing black studded leather. And she has a hood up, so you can't really see her face. And flying nearby her is a winged snake. It's an iridescent, like gray and black snake with wings that is kind of like flying around her head. And they're looking at what looks like tracks or something. Like they look like they're tracking someone or something through the jungle. And Little Fox and Arcturus, you see them before they see you, and you have like a moment to do something. What do you want to do?
Can I assess?
I mean, what would you like to know?
I just want to see if there are any, because we've been traveling with people who have like markings on their clothing, about like what they're following, what they're doing. So I guess like at first glance, do they have
Make
any
a perception check?
Yeah, similar markings about what they're about?
Oh damn,
21.
good perception check. They wouldn't be. They're not carrying around a big banner that's like we're cultists of Bane, or anything. But like, you weren't present when Ishii like ran into those badasses outside the temple, were you?
No.
Okay,
Little Fox was.
Little Fox, you were there for that?
Was I?
No, I don't think anyone was. I think
No,
she
there
was
was
alone.
no one there.
Malik
I
was
was-
inside.
Malik was
Right.
inside. But okay, so here's the thing. I think a 21 is good enough that when you see them, the first thing that pops to mind is Ishi's description of like, they were tall and wearing black armor and they were scary. And so like
But not that scary. I think I could have beat him.
yeah, right. So the word red side quest drifts through your ears. But yeah, these look like ne'er-do-wells. And that's
so
the first thing that
description
pops
of their
to mind.
armor is similar to the description of the armor that Ishi gave of those people. And
Yeah.
I was there when we went back, and Ishi and Malik were asking about them to the temple people.
Yeah, we've all heard about these
Yes,
people.
yeah. Malik got shoved out of the way by one of them as they passed. Yeah.
Yeah, and so
So hold on, but this is you're gonna take that moment to like recall that.
okay.
Little Fox, what are you doing in that heartbeat of like, uh-oh, somebody's there?
Oh, jeez.
Is this a like fist up, like military hand signs of the people behind you to like stay down, or
Instant rage.
Yeah, well, there's like a huge hand that comes out and catches Arcturus by his like tabard or whatever to stop him from walking out into the clearing or whatever where these folks are.
they're about
Uh-huh.
70 feet, slightly down a little incline to you?
Yeah, so just to like stay hidden, and I think I'm just gonna do a stealth roll for us, I guess, to keep us hidden. Is that appropriate?
Yeah,
or
if you want to try
Like
to
try and
hide,
silently.
if you want to try to hide Arcturus, like you can do it at disadvantage, basically. If that's the thing you
Like
wanna do.
I think wouldn't you be trying to make sure that the whole party doesn't
yeah, like I don't
like
want us to
signal
get
to the
noticed.
party members? Maybe?
So would that be stealth or would that be something else?
I mean, if you just turn around and like put your hands up and get everybody to like quiet down,
Mhm.
like they will. But
Yeah,
you're the
so I'll
only
do
ones.
that.
You're the only ones in visible range.
Yeah, I think I'll do that. So I just like turn back and get everyone to stop and indicate for them to be quiet,
Okay.
and stay kind of tucked, into the foliage.
Okay. Arcturus, let's have you and Little Fox both try to make a stealth check.
Okay. Okay. Can I use my inspiration?
Yeah, if you have it, you sure
I'm
can.
using it.
Never, never lucky.
Ooh.
Never
Big
sneaky
race.
Arcturus.
Hit right in the luck points. Okay, so you hear the Chultan say the trail goes cold here, and then you hear snarl from the black cloaked figure, and you hear her be like, "What?" And she turns. The snake kind of like moves towards and like menaces the guide, and she storms across to the guide and grabs him by the front of his shirt. And her hood falls back, and you can see that she has long blonde hair and like pointed ears. And I think at this point, because now you get a better look at the snake thing. I think you realize what it actually is.
Yeah, snake thing. What is it?
Can you make an Arcana check for me, please? I'll describe it in more full detail, and then I'll tell you if you recognize what it is.
Sure, but it's
Does it
shitty.
seem familiar to you?
16's not bad. Okay, let me find her.
I just don't understand how with a 0 I get the 2 and a 6 and then 16 and 14. Like
Okay, so imagine
So
a great
confusing.
plateau upon which chaos lives. So her hood falls back, and you can see her face better, and you can see that she has like long blonde hair. She has pointed ears, but she's not an elf. And where a normal human being might have like freckles, she has like a scaled pattern across the top of her nose and across her cheeks. And her snake, you realize, actually had its front and back paws tucked in and was kind of like wiggling through the air, and it lands on her shoulder with its back and front paws. It's like a tiny black dragon. So
we should get that for Ishi.
it's definitely too small to be a real, like a for reals dragon.
Ishi should have one of those.
But it's some kind of
like a-
draconic, like tiny draconic creature.
Pseudo dragon or something.
Yeah. And so she grabs the guy and like pushes him up against a tree, and she says
Arcturus gets flashbacks.
this is much less sexy. And she says, I've spent enough time in this filthy jungle already. I want Simber, I want that ring, and I want them now. And she puts her, the guy, he puts his hands up, and he's like, Mr. Zandala, I told you, this is as far as the trail goes. It stops here. I cannot do any more. And you see her like draw a long knife out of her belt, and the group around her like all kind of watch, like, oh, violence is gonna happen. And the guard is like trying to like he's like, please, Mr. Zandala, don't.
I like once I see like someone being like threatened with a knife, I think that I don't try and stay hidden.
What do you do?
I probably like we were at the edge of like some kind of hill or clearing so that we could see them. I think that she like draws the knife and everyone around her is just like, yes, murder, yes. And Arcturus is like, that's maybe unwise. And it's just like steps out of the like, right. Like so raising his voice a little bit to like carry down the hill.
You step out of the brush. Little Fox, what are you doing when this happens?
Well, I'm letting Arcturus be the most C-3PO motherfucker ever.
I was about to say Darth Zendala and her stormtroopers all kind of turn.
Like Little Fox is gone. Like she just fades into the jungle.
Yep.
And I will reappear if I need to, but I'm gonna stay hidden. And then, I got to move where I can fully go invisible for a little bit, and then I'll appear next to someone and smash their head in with a hammer, should that become necessary.
So when they see you, the guards draw their like her thugs draw weapons. Some of them draw maces. A couple of them like raise crossbows in your direction. The guard looks up in surprise, like, oh, there's somebody else here, or the guide looks up in surprise, and Zendala holds her knife at the guard and turns to look at you with a quizzical look. Now remember, you're like almost 100 feet away. There's like 70 feet between you. So she looks up. And what did you say when you come out? You're just like, excuse me.
I think that would be unwise, is what I said.
And she lowers the knife, but holds the guy against the tree still. And she says, oh, interesting. A wandering sage has come to tell me what isn't wise. And she points the knife at you, and she says, go and retrieve that thing for me. And the thugs kind of all turn and start like moving towards you. And one of them is raising his crossbow, and he's like, all right, easy now.
I'm like, no need. I like approach a little bit, and I'm just like, I just, felt that maybe murdering someone who can't give you the information you want when someone who can is right here, it would be unwise.
So as they approach, you've got a couple of crossbows pointed at you. One of the thugs comes up, and you have a hammer on your belt?
Yeah.
Right? Okay. He tries to take it from you. He's going to like yank it off of your belt. And you have a shield too, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So those things are going to get taken away from you.
Why?
Because you're armed, and these guys don't want you to have weapons. They're taking you prisoner is what's happening here.
And
okay.
Adam, to be clear, it's like Little Fox in the jungle nearby with mage friend Malik ready to mess these people up.
So let's see how far your friends are from you.
Yeah, I was about to ask.
Okay, so they're 60 feet. So it's like essentially there's you guys in the middle, like you and Arcturus, and then there's the hill down to where they are, and that's 70 feet, and then your friends are 60 feet behind you.
Yeah,
in the jungle, in the deeper jungle.
I'm like waiting for them to catch up quietly so that I can be like, shh, and then bring them over to where I'm at.
Want all of those guys to try to come up to you quietly? It'll never happen. Well, like you know for a fact that'll never occur. They'll start coming towards you. Like you've got them like hunkered down, and they're all just like breathing and like staring out up, and they can't see you either, but they know not to move. But if you were like come up, jingle jingle jingle, clatter clatter
they're
clatter,
make a bunch of noise,
and then the thugs would be like, oh, there's more. Fighting time.
Yeah, well, I think that Arcturus, because I heard them say Simber, and we were introduced to that fella at least through Ishi's like, we gotta save him, and so like I feel like I'm confident enough that they won't kill me straight away, so I let them take my weapons, and
Okay.
I don't know.
So
I don't know.
these dudes look like if the men and women of Camp Vengeance look like they were gathered up from farms and monasteries of the Forgotten Realms, these guys look like they were scraped out of the basements of taverns and from prisons. So they all have like prison tattoos. Some have like missing fingers. They look like rogues.
Yeah, but they're gonna kill this guy.
And the one talking to you has a full face tattoo of like a skull with like teardrops of blood coming down his neck. And he comes up to you and he takes your weapons and grabs you by the scruff of the neck and kind of pushes you not onto the ground, but like shoves you down the hill towards the woman.
Yes. I mean, yeah.
Okay.
I'm not just gonna let this guy get killed and not do anything.
That's very brave of you.
Yep.
So Little Fox, they don't spot you because you're all invisible and shit.
Yeah, is it possible for me to get closer
How so?
and like still be obscured by vegetation, or is it like a clearing down below?
I think we'll let your stealth roll ride so long as you don't move. But if you want to move closer to them, you'll have to make
It's
another.
going to be
stealth.
another.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So changing the situation.
Yeah, for sure. And I'm within 70 feet. Yeah, I
You're
need to
7
try to
feet
get closer.
away from her. Yeah.
Yeah, I need to get closer.
Okay. So you want to try to follow them?
Yep.
Okay.
Here I go.
You got 13. All right.
I got 13.
All right. Let me roll for. I think
It's not enough to beat my own passive perception, but maybe these guys aren't.
Well, and you're also
I don't think
invisible?
they're not searching for you. They think the noise was just so 13 is fine for passive. Yeah, for these dudes.
Yeah.
So you kind of like creep along behind them.
Yeah, I'm just like following as they capture my friend to try to stay within swinging distance, more or less,
And this sort of thing has happened.
I'll
at
say you
least
can
once
keep within
before.
you can keep within single move distance. You're within 30 feet of like a
Yeah, exactly, right?
Yeah.
That I can close the gap
charging
and
distance.
murder someone before
This
things
sort of
get
thing has
bad.
happened at least once before, though, right? Like, Little Fox has gone like completely invisible when some kind of danger approached, and then come back. Like
She
that's.
can also change how she looks. Like
I
she
feel
has
like
some
I feel like
tricks.
that's happened. So Arcturus, in giving up his weapon, is like, okay, well, I can't just let this man die, and also I know that Little Fox is somewhere. So.
Okay.
But yeah, I don't fight. I let them take my shield and my like hammer, and I'm just like, sure. Anyway, as I was saying, sorry for
So
eavesdropping.
take inspiration for this scene because I think you're doing a thing that shows your character and is explicitly sort
Stupid.
of dangerous. Okay.
Yeah, I was like, sorry for eavesdropping, but I heard you were looking for a man by the name of Simber.
So she, with like a bit of a flourish, she like sheaths her long knife, and the guy doesn't move. He stays like back against the tree. He's not gonna run or anything. So you can tell like she still kind of got him held in position with her force of will. And you approach, and she looks you up and down, and she says, "Well, there's something you don't see every day. You're a Triton, aren't you?"
Yes. You're the first person I've come across who actually is aware that Triton exists. Everyone keeps calling me Fishman.
Yes, well, the jungles are full of idiots. And she looks at her guide, and then back to you. She takes off her gloves, and she puts her hand out to shake your hand.
Arcturus Vivaxeth, and you are.
She shakes her hand and she says, "My name is Zandala. I'm here looking for my father."
That Simber person.
She nods. Artist Simber. He travels with a creature, looks something like a lizard, walks around on two legs.
And makes lots of smells, right?
You can see her eyes widen a little bit. So you've seen him.
Uh-huh.
Where is he?
In a cage.
Where?
I'm not great at directions. Back that way a bit.
She takes a half step towards you, and you can see her little like dragon. It's sitting on her shoulders with like his tail wrapped around her arm, and she looks at you. The dragon looks at you, and it's got these like sort of black like frills that can stand up a little bit, and like it hisses a little at you. And she takes a sudden step forward, and she says, "I need you to be more specific. Where?
Right. Sorry. One of my friends is actually still with him. Your father. You said you don't look anything alike, honestly. But do you know of a camp downriver a ways?
She looks at the guide, and the guide like nods nervously. She turns back to you without saying anything.
I believe. Wait. You're not going to kill me if I give you what you want, are you?
No, of course not.
Right.
She says like, yeah, no, of course not. I mean, and she looks at her men and she's like, I know they look a little bit rough, but listen, we can't all afford the purple knights, all right? I'm at the end of my rope. I've been looking for him forever. I just need to find him and bring him home. Did you speak to him? He's very confused.
I don't think we had a conversation, but he was very verbose.
She nods. That sounds like him.
So hey, Adam.
Yes.
Since I am watching,
Yeah.
what is the vibe I get from this lady?
Would you like to make an insight check?
Is he really her daddy?
Let me see what you think of that.
I get a 14.
Oh,
Okay.
please.
Where is the lie? That is what I would like to know.
No, I mean, she seems like she's telling the truth. She is obviously desperate to get this guy. She's maybe not telling the whole truth about why she wants him or whatever, but she's obviously like angry, and you can't quite pick out why. And she doesn't seem like she obviously isn't comfortable being like, oh, I want to save my daddy. He's in such danger. Like he probably did her wrong. He probably was like, I have to go out for yon cigarettes. I'll be back in yon 10 minutes, and then did never return from ye grocery store.
Right.
But she seems angry with him. And angry with the guide and angry with the whole situation.
Anger is something little fucks understands.
Yeah, she's a little pissy, but you can't. Something's going on with her familiar though, which I think maybe you are more likely to pick up than anyone else.
Yeah, what's up with that?
The familiar is like extra agitated and confused and upset. Like you can see its tail twitching and like it's like kind of kneading her shoulder with its little claws. There's something going on between the two of them. But that, I mean, that there's less information to gather there.
And I think that like after asking that very blunt question, Arcturus is like, I'm sorry, your men are they make me a bit tense. Yes, actually we were there were people. I might have gotten lost now that I think about it. But we were going to be heading back to where your father is. If I can find them again.
She grins and she says, listen, friend, I've got all the companion you need here. And she takes a pouch of coins off of her purse and holds it out. And she says, now, why don't you take this bag of gold, find your way back to the river, and swim on back to Port Nyanzaru. And she holds it out. And it's like a fairly fat like purse.
My chances of surviving that are a little bit slimmer without my shield and hammer.
She says, oh, of course. Well, we'll give those back to you as well. Just take the gold, head north, and it's like we never saw each other. Thank you. You've done me a great service.
I really wish that I could, but as I mentioned, I have companions somewhere. And my god requires of me that I find the cause of this death curse, so I can't really leave the jungle altogether. I don't need to get into your family feuds or anything. That's not any of my business. I have other things that I kind of need to be doing.
And so she looks at you and she's like, I don't understand what you're saying. I'm offering you gold in exchange for the information you gave me, and to look the other way while I go and recover my father.
Sure.
And you're saying no.
Well, I can't go back to Port Nyanzaru. I have...
Oh, I don't care where you go.
Oh.
Just don't go back to that camp.
One of my
Let me
friends.
be clear with you. This is a bribe to keep you quiet. There needs to be that extra step where she.
No, but like that's something that Arcturus gets straight away. He's just like, I got things that I have to do. I can't just go back to the port, you know?
So once she realizes you're being obstinate on purpose, she says, "Listen to me. This can go one of two ways, Arcturus. You can take the gold, and you can leave, and you can apologize to your god. I'm sure whatever they are, they'll understand. Or this can go the other way." And at the, like the shift in her tone of voice, the guards, you can hear their armor creaking. One of them like smiles, a little gold tooth glints in the light, and you see grip tighten on weapons.
So let me just, I don't mean to be, I take your gold, you give me back the things that you took from me, and then we just go separate ways.
She nods. As long as your way isn't my way, then yes, that's how it can go.
And what way is your way? Just to be clear.
She points south and she says, "That's where my father is? A camp that way?"
Uh-huh.
She nods. "Then I guess you're going that way." And she points the opposite direction.
It's technically correct.
It is technically correct. And I feel like Arcturus doesn't, I mean, no one's around. And he honestly doesn't know where the rest of his party is, except presumably Little Fox. So he's like, okay, yes, I will continue in this direction. If I could have my weapons so that I can not die to the jungle.
She hands you the bag of gold.
Okay.
And she looks at one of the thugs and she's like, "Give him his weapons." And the thug kind of like presses them into your arms.
Thank you. And then Arcturus is just like, "Well, that's lovely. Please don't kill your guide." And walks like in the direction, like very stiffly in the direction that he said that he was gonna go in.
Yeah, and she looks at the guide and she says, "A camp to the south. Let's go." And like grabs him and pushes him in front of her. And then they head off.
That's gonna be a problem later.
Does their path look like they're gonna run into our guys?
No, they're
gonna stay on the low.
You're kind of hooking like this way, and they were going this way, so you're gonna.
Yeah, we're not gonna.
There won't be a problem.
Good. Little Fox is gonna hustle back up the hill and get to Malik.
And Arcturus is just gonna like march and like look over his shoulder and stop as soon as like he can't see them anymore, and then like be like, "Little Fox," but you're not anywhere around where he is.
Yeah, I have ghosted because I'm still worried about.
Yeah, of course.
What might happen with the bumbling red shirts that we've brought along.
All right, so you wanna head back to reconvene the party?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, cool. Well, why don't we grab a break here, and when we get back, we'll reconvene the party, and we'll see what's next for everybody. Stick around. We'll be back with more Roll20 Presents Tomb of Annihilation right after this. This stream is brought to you by Roll20, an easy-to-use virtual tabletop dedicated to making tabletop RPGs accessible to everyone. Join the adventuring party at roll20.net. Hello, everybody. Welcome back. I'm going into part 2 of today's episode of Roll20 Presents Tomb of Annihilation, episode number 12. So, a mysterious, slightly draconic, familiar endowed half-elf has just been pointed in the direction of Camp Vengeance in search of her papa, and redeflected from potentially getting in a big old fight with the party. So, what happens when they leave? The group of thugs, led by Zendala, heads south, and within a few moments, they disappear into the jungle, and the sounds of their passage are swallowed up by the birds and animal noises of the jungle. It's midday. It's your first day out of Camp Vengeance, so it shouldn't take them more than a few hours to reach it. Arcturus, you have a bag of gold, and
Yeah.
do you want to? Are you? Is that where do we fade on you looking at the bag of gold?
I think that like Arcturus doesn't even count it or anything. He probably just like stows it and is like, I'll just give this to probably the god Tyr or something, because that's, yep. And then once the party reconvenes, he probably very awkwardly says, so we might want to go there.
Okay, stop. Formulate what you want to say before you say it. Let's say it in one go. What happened?
Did you see the party in the clearing? You were too far back.
No, we didn't.
There were about 6 men, very violent-looking men, and a woman who claimed to be the offspring of Mr. Simber back in Camp Vengeance.
The captain looks at you and she says, "Who's that?"
She said her name was, and I forgot what her name was.
Zendala.
She said her name was Zendala?
She shakes her head. No, the other name you said, Cinder?
Simber. That man that you've been
Okay.
keeping in a cage, he said that was his name.
Oh, the prisoner. Right.
She seemed to be very set on finding him,
He seems like the kind of man who might have children unaccounted for.
and was threatening to kill her guide. So I told her where to find him.
I don't like the sound of that. I think the men of the camp might be in danger. Arcturus, this is another questionable decision.
She
made
puts her
by-
hands up and she's like, "What danger? There's 25 men in that camp. A group of 6 people is not going to be any threat. Did you see the size of those walls? Look, we've fought off night after night of undead and whatever other creatures these jungles can throw at us. There's no reason to believe that the camp is in danger from a handful of people, especially
we're
if they're
here to help
ruffians,
you.
like you said."
I care about the safety of these men, and inviting undue danger to them for
I mean, she just wanted to find her father.
Listen, if she's willing to, and are you holding the coin purse still, Arcturus?
I mean, maybe like absent-mindedly.
Yeah, so she looks at it and she says, if she's willing to pay a purse of coins just for information, maybe she'll ransom this man. Then we'll have some gold. We can buy supplies. And if we can ever reconnect the line back to the port. Still, I think you're worrying for nothing.
If the men with her did seem to be unsavory types, we are still not too far from the camp. We could go back and check. And
Oh, you want to
then-
go back and tell Commander Breakbone you've just given up? He
Not
won't
given
take-
up, just stalled a bit.
I have my mission, and you're a part of that mission, and it's to go north and to find those men.
yeah, by your command, Captain. I just concerned.
She looks at you seriously and says, I understand and I appreciate your worry for my men, but it's a fort. There are 20 men there, all in fighting condition. A girl and some thugs are going to be of no concern to them. This is one time where I think the commander will be able to apply his acumen. I think you worry for nothing.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Let's continue on then.
And she looks at Little Fox, looks at Arcturus like, anybody else? Anything else to say? Not in an accusing way, but like just she's making room.
Yeah, Little Fox is just kind of growling this whole time because she's not excited about all of this.
I mean, none of it is really a good decision, but I think Arcturus is like, well, if you are confident, makes me feel a little bit better. I just didn't want to die.
Also, let me double check something.
Die.
We said earlier something about Bane. Arcturus knows that these people.
No, I was just joking around.
Okay.
The joke was that they weren't wearing like tabards of the cult of Bane and like waving an evil flag or anything.
I didn't know if that was like they're not wearing tabards, but they're totally the cult of Bane.
I definitely would have made it clear. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, okay.
I don't have any reason to air any more concerns, especially since I don't know that she was a spellcaster. That wasn't mentioned at all.
She didn't do anything.
And so I think Little Fox will just say dragon and look at Arcturus.
Oh, yes. Ishi will be quite excited about that. She had a little dragon-looking thing. We should get one of those.
The captain looks at you and she says, "What do you mean? You already have one?" And she like looks around. She looks around like, "Where is that thing?"
A flying one. It was on her shoulder. The woman. Ishi would love that.
And she scowls and she says, "Think about what someone would say if they came upon us, a group of soldiers and their companions." She gestures at Malik like a wizard, a creature from below the sea, and some kind of enormous ape. No offense. All I'm saying is that there are strange creatures out here in the jungle. I don't know that a tiny dragon warrants too much worry. Do you remember anything else about it?
It was black. It looked antsy.
One of the soldiers is like, "Captain, in it black dragons, one of the villainous ones, you know, the bad kind." And the captain puts her hands up and she's like, all right, Sergeant. And she says, I'm no scholar of magical beasts, but if she's allied with a dragon, it can't be a good son. And she's like, kind of scowls and like you can see her sort of confused.
It's only a few hours walk if you still want to go back. I personally have little, what's the word? Motivation either way.
Did you notice her carrying a staff? Anything like that might suggest whether this was familiar?
She had a dagger
as well.
She had a dagger, and her men were armed with sharp swords. I didn't see. Did I see a staff? No, I didn't see any kind of staff or obvious arcane paraphernalia, other than the dragon thing.
I'm starting to worry that this wasn't simply a girl and her thugs. She might be formidable in her own right. Though, as you say, not a full, but a fort with its commander.
They have a watch going every day. They talk to us before, just straight up attacking. I'm sure that they'll converse, figure out what she wants, and negotiate for the release of her father. It'll be fine.
Cool. So when we resume traveling north, Little Fox is actually going to lead the party south.
Okay, well, I mean, it's midday, so it will be real obvious if you turn around and go the way you came.
Yep.
So you just walk off in the other direction?
Yeah, she's going to lead us a little bit, and then just we just do a U-turn and head back.
And are you trying to be surreptitious about it at all?
Maybe a little bit. I don't know. It's half yeah, okay. I'm trying to hide this, or you probably won't notice. And also half just if you go on without me, you're just going to get lost in the jungle anyways. So, where I go, they follow because I am the guide.
Yeah, I'm just saying,
and
like,
there's enough-
Arcturus and Malik will both get a roll to tell that you're like heading them the wrong direction.
Oh, the two of them will definitely see it, I figure. But this is how Little Fox is communicating her desire because she doesn't like talking.
Yeah, sure.
So she's going to do it this other way.
Okay. Well, Little Fox, roll a survival roll, and then Malik and Arcturus also make survival rolls.
Okay.
Oh damn!
Little Fox is very set.
Little
in
Fox, so
his ways.
subtle.
Arcturus is.
Yeah, no, I'm happy either way. I get led where I'm going. I'm
So-
very happily falling
Well, I
into.
want to know. I want to know if you notice. So make that survival check anyway, Malik.
Okay.
So we're going against the 25.
Yes.
So no, none of us are
No.
the wiser.
No one is. You're none the wiser. Everyone is led in. I guess I'll give the captain a chance too. I don't think she has survival trained, so it's just gonna be a.
And this is like going down the hill so that we're actually following the goons, I think.
All right.
Yeah, we're all just like. I mean, I got close, but a 25, I couldn't even hit that.
So I think they have a head start on you, and you're not like actively tracking them or anything. So I think they'll get a bit of a lead on you, to return to the camp.
Yeah, like they might be there for half an hour to an hour before we get there, kind of a thing.
Yeah. Okay. So you come through the jungle, and I think we see a shot of one of the guards kind of like, wait a second, this looks familiar. And then you emerge and the camp is there, and one of the guards is like, oh hell. And the captain looks at you, Little Fox, like, what is the meaning of this? How did we get turned around? We've been marching all day.
And yeah, Little Fox like scratches her chin and
You encountered her around noon, so it's like night is falling.
Yeah, and she's like scratching her chin and just kind of looking like deliberately playing that she's dumb. She's not a good actor or anything, but just like probably the captain knows that I'm like lying to her face, but I just like play it up. I'm just like, and like shrug. And make a hand, just like got turned around.
So, do you want to like talk about this at all when you arrive? Like, do you explain yourself, or are you just kind of like, meh?
Not to her,
or to anybody. Like, you all realize.
But if Malik and Arcturus talk to me,
yeah. Now, at the last minute, once you're here, they all realize for sure.
Well,
does the camp look totally fine?
I mean, fine as it did when you left. Yeah, it's not a burning crater or anything.
It seems that
I think it would be best if I don't go check on this woman. She seemed to really want me to not follow her. Not that I would. I don't stalk people, but
okay.
It's probably
that's great. No, you can stay here then. Is it worth checking now that we're here, Captain? However this has happened.
She's scowling at Little Fox like, you fucking did this on purpose. I think she says to you, Malik, she shakes her head and she says, to think I trusted you. You just dragged us all the way back here because what? You didn't agree with the mission? Those men in the jungle, if they're not dead already, they certainly will be now if we leave them there. And look, she gestures, the camp is fine. She like just turns away from you, like she's disappointed that like you fucked her around like this.
Is the people still on watch up at the gate?
Yeah, you can see them. You're still out in the woods, and it's just getting dark enough. No one has had to light a lantern or anything.
Okay. I'll walk over to Little Fox and I'll say, "Are you happy?"
Yeah, and you can hear that like low growl, like she's trying, and she's like looking around, trying to like spot the dark clad figures.
Do you want me to go inside and check, come up with some pretense that we had to do something we'd forgotten?
Yeah, and she does that thing that she always does where she like kind of grabs onto your clothing to like hold you like in close so that she can talk low, and just says, Ishi's in the camp. Arcturus sends bad people there.
Of course. Yes, come with me then. Captain, I take full responsibility for this. But now that we're at the camp, we should use it to rest. There's no reason staying outside.
She shakes her head and she says, I don't think you understand. If you just try to walk back in there, Breakbone is going to put you in the stocks. You've disobeyed a direct order. He sent you out into the jungle and you've returned. On purpose, without even trying. I can't go back in there like this. Not now.
We could, set up camp just out of eyesight. That'd be fine, right? I'm not partial to stocks myself. Little Fox, I've never, really asked you about this, but I recall there are times where you can look like someone else. That might perhaps be the best way to check on what's happening and then come back. Look like a guard or something?
Yeah, Little Fox shrugs and just says, you sent people here, now I have to kill them.
No, you do. She just wanted to find her father. Her father is here. It seemed...
No offense, Arcturus, but you are not the best judge of character. She could be anybody.
Right. You're correct. It would probably be better if you were all off going forward on your lives and I was stuck here forever as slave to some commander. That would be better, wouldn't it, Malik? Your decisions have been so good up to this point.
Are we going to have this argument now?
No.
We're going to try and do something about these people that Little Fox is concerned about first.
And Little Fox kind of like talks into your continued, like, I'm sure the two of you are like going back and forth, and Little Fox just chirps in with camp in the woods, kill the bad people, leave. Camp never knows.
I don't think that she just wanted to find her father. She didn't kill me and she didn't kill her guide. She didn't kill anybody. Why do we assume that she's a bad person?
And Little Fox just says, smelled it on her.
So do you want to rest out in the jungle here?
Little Fox's thinking is, like camp nearby to the fort and like keep an eye out for the douchebags and then go murder them and then carry on our way, resume the mission.
So the captain says, well, there's nowhere we can go now, not at night. Traveling the jungle in the middle of the night is... That's folly. So we have to rest one way or another. And I'm not going back to the camp empty-handed. Not so soon. We rest out here in the jungle, and then what? You take the morning. I'll give you until noon tomorrow. If you can find nothing else wrong, I'm leaving, going north.
No, we don't have any... Well, I don't have any intention of endangering those men and the mission anymore.
Okay.
I'm not cut out to be. And I hold the rank thing and I say, these are my companions. They make their own decisions. I'm not in charge of them.
She shakes her head and she says, I'm beginning to question the whole situation, but I can't... And she storms off. So the group of you make camp?
Yep.
Okay.
It's a happy camp. We're camping in the woods.
Seriously,
it's great.
Just like grim. No one.
Everyone's unhappy, and
yeah.
We're just gonna murder some strangers.
So
I don't see why we have to murder anybody.
Partway through the night, I think you hear, like, as everybody's kind of getting settled in, it's dark. You're eating maybe your rations or whatever. So everybody mark off rations. You're eating. You hear a raucous sound coming from the camp. Though the camp is 100 yards away or whatever from here. You hear some like sort of drunken singing. maybe someone playing a musical instrument badly. There's some merriment coming from the camp. And everybody kind of like looks at each other like, that's weird and different.
Yeah, and Little Fox looks at, Arcturus or Malik as if this like confirms everything that she believed, right? Like, see, it is a bad thing.
It sounds perfectly fine. They're singing and playing music. That's what people do, Little Fox. Do you remember the taverns?
Yeah, and she just like picks up her hammer and stands up and starts walking towards the fort.
God damn.
In the middle of the night.
One of the other soldiers starts to stand up, and the captain puts her hand on his shoulder and just like sits him back down. Like, no, stay. Okay. Does anybody go with Little Fox, or is this Operation Little Fox sneaks up on the camp?
I am really bad at sneaking.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going as well.
Okay.
I'm not going.
All right, so I want to get a closer look, and then maybe infiltrate the camp and murder everyone like I'm Solid Snake or something.
Okay, all right.
I'm actually secretly a level 5 rogue, so I got this.
Bum, 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 bum.
Variant.
Okay, all right. So whoever is approaching, the two of you, I guess, you can roll stealth to sneak up on the camp. I'm going to give them disadvantage for the dim light to detect you. Let's roll that shit right out in the open. Boom!
Jesus,
Nuked!
Adam.
Nuked as fuck. So as you approach the describe the angle of your approach. Are you coming up because there's the gully or whatever, the gulch around it, and then the spikes, and then the wall. And I assume you're not going to try to climb the wall. Are you trying to sneak in the front? Because the front's closed, right? The gate's shut.
Yeah, Little Fox is just like keeps trying to get closer to get a sense of what's going on. So she probably ends up getting close to the front gate just because she's trying to find some way to see what's happening.
So you hear a faint like thung, and then a thunk, and someone fires a flaming arrow, not at you, but in your direction to illuminate you so they can see you. So suddenly you're like standing in a pool of light, and like dim light, obviously, but they can see you now. And you hear a voice shout from the top of the tower, like, "Who goes there?" And you're still like 100 feet away.
I look at Little Fox and I say,
Bloop.
"Wow,
Yeah, I think she just says, "You talk," and just like stands up, like she was kind of in like a low crouch, and she just like stands up and stands next to this flaming arrow awkwardly.
Yeah, and you look up and you can see there are a couple of guards up on the post. You can see them in silhouette because they've got a little light burning there, and they're looking out at you. Malik, do you say anything?
It's Malik. We found something we need to discuss with the commander. We headed back as quickly as we could."
Make a persuasion check. You're so charismatic. You can do it, buddy. DC 10. Yeah, no problem. Okay. So they look at each other and they're like, "Malik, who's Malik? Wait, I don't know any Malik. Do you know Malik? Is that the guy we have in the cage? No, that's the difference between you. You go get him. You do it. Shut up." And somebody like runs off, and you hear the woman's voice shout like, "Stay there." And there's like a long pause, some time, and then you hear the sound of the gates opening, and she shouts, "We're sending someone out to get you." And you can hear the gate like creaking open, and some armor rattling, and a couple of guards come jogging out with torches, and they see Little Fox, you and Malik, and one of them, they stop outside in the kind of no man's land between the edge of the jungle where all the like corpses are and stuff. So there's like rotting bodies and partly butchered animal like dinosaur, and there's bugs everywhere. And so they stop and like got his hand over his mouth because it stinks so bad out here. And he's like, "Didn't you just leave this morning? Where's the other one? And the captain? Where's all the soldiers? What happened?"
I say, "They're camping some distance back." I put my finger up and I say, "I have some information. and I like move so that I can like talk.
You take a step
quietly to
towards
them.
him, and he takes a step back, and the other one puts his hand on his sword, like, huh? Hey.
It's like I don't want to pull rank, but I can. I think in this situation,
Right.
and I like flash the insignia. I was like,
And he squints at it and looks at his friend, and he's like, say what you gotta say, Lieutenant.
these people, some travelers have come to the camp today.
And he nods slowly, like, that sounds familiar.
You have reason to believe that they don't come with good intentions.
He shakes his head, and he says, well, what makes you say that?
It seems out in the jungle, they were desperate enough to find the location of this that they would bribe and threaten to kill, even if they seem well enough now.
And they kind of look at each other, and he looks back at you and he says, you telling me you never killed anybody, Malik?
I've killed plenty of people.
And he nods. He says, that's how it is out here in the jungle. Kill or be killed. So you're going to have to do a little better than that.
We just need to look inside really quickly. Just make sure that these are the same people. They have a creature with them. It could be very dangerous.
And they kind of look at each other and like shrug. And they're like, all right, let's go. And they bring you back into the camp. And when you come into the camp, so you come in through the front door. There's the tent, the command tent. The door is open, and you can hear music coming from inside. Someone is playing some like playing badly on a mandolin or something, and singing some bawdy tavern song. And the guard like pulls his handkerchief away from his mouth as you walk in, and he says, he shrugs and looks around, and he says, welcome back. And and you look around, and the camp looks more or less the same, except like a little more lively. And you can see that over by the goat pen, one of the goats is missing. And there are two or three, there's people like standing around. And one of them is eating like a roasted like goat leg, but it's not a soldier. It's one of the thugs. And as you look around, it looks like the thugs have kind of like, they're just like in the camp, like hanging out with these people. And they're all talking. It looks like you can tell by everyone's behavior they've been drinking a little bit. The guards and the thugs all look a little tipsy. And it's dark and it's hot and it's smelly, but it looks like they're in slightly better spirits than they were before. And when you come in, they shut the gates behind you. Wow. And he gestures to the commander's tent and is like, right this way, Lieutenant.
Oh, right. Good. I didn't actually want to talk to him, but like I have to.
I mean, you said like I have concerns, so he's bringing you to the commander.
I'm gonna say to Little Fox as a kind of thing. I was like, join in if you would. I'll speak to the commander and then I'll come back.
So there's the sound of a lute being played from inside the commander's tent, right?
Yeah, there's a guy singing a song about Kelvin Blackstaff, and it's a very thinly veiled song about a wizard's genitals. And he's like, no. Right, I remember the words. Hold on. Bling! And then, 'twas a lady. No, all right, that's the second verse. And so like he's like kind of awkwardly kind of blonking his way through this song. And you can hear that from inside. And there's like laughing, and the tent sounds pretty full.
Yeah, so Little Fox will peek in the tent before.
I mean, you can't really. The door's wide open. Like the light spills out into the outside, and the two of them are being led in. So you can just see
like
into the
I want to like
goes.
I'm not trying to be hidden about it, but just like I want to see what's going on in the tent, and then I'll make my decision about maybe going somewhere else.
Yeah. Malik is being kind of like escorted in.
Yeah.
So okay, yeah. So as you come in, the guy's giving up on his song. Someone's taking the lute away from him, and he's just like, "No, I know another one. Come on, let me give it back." and someone throws it to another guy, and so you walk in, and it's most of the thugs. It's like four of the thugs. In the thing, the table has been the map has like ale spilled on it, and there's a big, mostly chopped up, like the bones of a roasted goat, lying on the plate in the middle of the table. And at the back there are two chairs. There's the commander sitting in his chair, and sitting next to him is a beautiful looking half elven woman with scales over the bridge of her nose, slightly bronze skin, long blonde hair, and sleeping on the table with its head like on the plate where the goat is a tiny dragon with its belly all full of goat meat. And as you walk in, the guard says, "Sorry, Commander Breakbone, visitors." And the commander turns his head to look at you and scowls like, "Ugh, you again." What do you do?
I awkwardly salute.
Okay.
I say, I fear that I had no reason to return to the camp after all.
And he gets up, and you see he's a little tipsy, like he has to steady himself on the side of his chair. He gets up and he looks at you, and he says, "What? You've completed your mission already? I come back victorious. Where are my men? Where's my captain?"
They're camped outside. It seemed as if I'm like Mally like looks at Little Fox. And
like, the woman is like on her elbows on the table, like she's like stone cold sober and is just staring at you like, "Oh, this should be interesting."
So you looked to where Little Fox was. She's not there. I'm gonna run to the cage and check that out, Adam. That's what Little Fox wants to do. Having seen this whole like came up to the threshold of the tent, looked in, and was just like, "Oh, this is what's going on," and then she's gonna zip away.
Okay. Yeah, I think that's reasonable for you to get over there. Okay, so the cage is as you left it. Artist Simber and his companion are in it. But one of the thugs is like on guard duty, like watching over, and he doesn't look drunk. He's like alone back by the latrines. He's got his bandana up over his face, and he's just like watching, like keeping guard, so you can't just walk up and like talk.
Yeah. Well, then I will make myself look like one of his friends whom I have observed.
Okay, which one? Like, you don't recognize this guy. They all like just look like humans.
Just be generic thug.
No, the one with the crazy tattoos on his face, because that one stuck out in my memory.
Okay.
So I look like that guy.
Okay, let me get a name for that dude. Let's call this guy. All right, I got a name for him. All right, so we see you walking, and as you walk, you like go behind a tent and come out this other guy, and there's little lifts of magic like floating away from you. And so you walk out towards this guy, and he puts his hand on his knife. He's this big like Bowie knife or whatever in his belt. And he goes to grab it, and he sees you, and he takes his hand off, and he says, He says something to you. He says something to you in common, but none of the words make sense in the order he said them.
It's thieves' cant.
Yeah. He just upnods you and says something about like a bat in a bell tower or something, and like it doesn't make any sense. Like he just strings some words together.
Of course. And I like fake a stumble, because it's near the latrines, right?
Mm-hmm.
And like walk towards the latrine in a kind of unsteady way.
Yeah.
The old disguise self into the latrines trick.
So he looks at you and like kind of scowls, like, "What the fuck's wrong with you?"
And then when I get nice and close to him, Um, Gosh, do I just try to murder him with my bare hands, or do I try to convince him that it's so hard to convince him of stuff if I can't speak thieves' cant?
Uh-huh.
And Little Fox doesn't know what
I mean,
thieves' cant is,
thieves
but she's
can't
just
isn't
like, these
really
guys are
thieves can't
speaking
isn't
fast.
really conversational, but yes, if like the fact that you didn't respond in a particular way right away kind of like tipped him off.
Yeah, so she knows enough to know that she's screwed up, but not how to solve
Okay, well,
it.
let's give you a minute. We'll cut
So
back
give me a
to
minute, and then I'll
Malik.
plot my violence.
Malik.
Oh, I fear, and he looks around and looks in confusion, and then sees the dragon, and he has an idea, and he says, "Ah, I." One of the guards you sent us out with said he saw a dragon-like creature heading towards the camp. I think this is a fear might have been a little misplaced, and like I point to it.
The woman at the table like laughs, and yeah, she's like, "What, this thing? No, Summerwise is harmless. A little hungry, maybe."
Right. Well, this is all incredibly embarrassing. In that case, I seem to have taken his report of a black dragon-like creature heading towards the camp a little too seriously, it seems.
She shakes her head and she says, "Oh, not to worry. She's a lot more silver in daylight. Little tarnished thing. Anyway, you've nothing to worry about. What a good and dutiful soldier you have here, Commander." And the commander looks at her and nods like, well done, Lieutenant. Now get back to the men and carry on your mission. Everything here is fine."
Yes. I didn't realize we were receiving any reinforcements.
He shakes his head. "What? No, these aren't. They're not reinforcements, you fool. Just travelers." And Zendala puts her hands out and she says, "Yes. Just traveling the jungle, looking for treasures."
Oh, I can certainly sympathize with that. That's I'm sorry. My name's Malik, and I like kind of go past the commander to like shake her hand. I try it anyway.
Yeah, you're at the opposite end of the table, so you'd have to go like around the guard. Like you're talking across the long end of the table.
Oh right, okay. No, I don't go for that then.
Yeah.
I do a little bit of a bow instead then. And introduce myself to her. I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah. So she says to you in Draconic, she says something that's like a dragon, like a Draconic greeting that's the equivalent of like a larger, like a great worm addressing a wormling. Like I acknowledge that you exist. So it's not a friendly greeting. It's a like, yeah, okay. You're small and pathetic and I'm in charge here. It's not meant to be an insult, but to put you in your place, to acknowledge to create the hierarchy.
Okay, perfect.
And she just looks, yeah, she looks at you to see, like, you can catch that she's trying to see if you react.
Yeah, I get it immediately, and I say, how hard do I want to go with it? Say, if you don't mind me asking, then what are you doing in the camp with all these men who seem to have taken up watch positions? You seem to have ingratiated yourself particularly quickly.
She says, "I only wanted to help the cause. The commander says that these are very dangerous areas, and, well, a little extra help while we stay the night can't hurt."
Mm-hmm. You wouldn't perhaps be looking for anybody, would you?
She kind of squints at you. "I have everything I need from the camp. I'm going to be on my way tomorrow. Unfortunately, it doesn't sound like you're going to be staying the night to enjoy the festivities." And the commander, kind of like realizing, like, oh yes, I gave you an order, looks at you and kind of like, yes.
Yeah, she switches back to common for that one, I guess.
Oh yeah, totally. And that whole thing, she was speaking common. whether you were speaking Draconic or not. And
Yeah.
he says, yes, Lieutenant, you're dismissed. Carry on. Back to the mission.
Okay. Malik will do something immediately.
So
I need to
meanwhile,
think-
yeah,
Yeah.
meanwhile, Arcturus, what are you doing? Are you just like nervously like pacing, waiting for your friends to come back? Are you talking to the captain? Like,
Arcturus is easily distracted. And I think that he's probably talking. They're all human, the guards. And
yes,
stuff.
yeah.
He's probably like talking to like whichever one of them will talk to him about where they grew up and what their childhood was like, and asking them to describe in detail the just like how they lived, and like it's
Right. So
being an
we come back in, and then you and a guard, and he's sitting there, and he's like, well, and then cousin Lauren, well, he was from Shadowdale. He married Baron, and she was. See, we was worried for a bit because Baron, she's if you remember from before, she's Doran's second cousin, and so we was thinking they might be related. And we don't do that where I'm from. Now in Daggerdale, it's all right for you to marry your cousin, but not in Shadowdale. They're very different that way. We're a bit conservative. So anyway, it all came down to this pig farm and who owned the farm. So when Uncle Gorlin, and so he's just like trying to tell you this story about how like eventually he was just like, well, and then I just gave up on the whole thing and I joined the order.
Yeah, it's like Arcturus is wrapped.
Right. Okay.
Like, oh, different marriage practices and different by geographic. Fascinating.
Yes.
Awesome. Okay. So you're just that's just you're keeping yourself busy with that.
Yeah, I feel like the thing is that Arcturus is, as evidenced by our previous encounters, not one to just immediately write someone off as evil. And so he like heard people laughing and singing and stuff, and so he's like, yeah, they're fine. Like everything's
Boy,
fine.
my friends are gonna feel like real dorks when they realize that those people were nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So maybe the captain, she says to you, she's like, Arcturus, can I speak to you a moment?
Yes. What is it?
So you like stand up and go over there? Okay. So she walks over to where you can kind of see the camp. And she says, you didn't go with your friends. Why?
I'm not one for sneaking, and I told the woman that I wouldn't follow her, so.
And so your word is important to you.
Of course.
Shakes her head, and she looks at you and she says, "You're not dressed like them either."
No, I am I am a cleric of Istitia, a god from where I come from, the primordial plane of water. And
when you say primordial plane of water, she blinks at you like you just said something, like you just made up a gibberish word. Like,
oh yes, I'm from space. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
From Jupiter.
I'm from the third moon of Saturn.
And it is generally I do as I say I will do. When I said that I would come to this jungle to cure the death curse, that is as I intend to do. When I said to your captain or commander that I would help cure the men at your camp who are sick, that is what I intend to do. When I told that woman that I would not follow her or interfere with her getting her father back, I meant it.
And you do this because the tenets of your god tell you to?
Partially. Just, it's the right thing.
I have heard much about the right thing to do of late. I wish that we had gone back to Nyanzaru after Camp Righteous was destroyed. But the Order, we do not know when to retreat.
I think perhaps if you would spend a little less time listening to what people are telling you and a little more time listening to what you know to be true.
You don't understand. You're an adventurer. You.
Anthropologist, but sure, yes.
She laughs. I don't know what that means. You travel where you wish to go. You sleep under the stars or in a tavern or wherever you can find. You delve into dungeons looking for treasure. And she looks back at her men, and they just look like sullen and like tired. And she says, I have them to look out for. I have people who look up to me. I have orders to give and to follow. I cannot simply do what I think is right. Do you understand this distinction?
I have people I look after.
But they are not under your command. They don't expect you to make the right decision for them. I saw the way Malik and you spoke. There is disagreement there.
Yes.
A lack of discipline. I do not mean this as an insult, just... I think it is not so easy as you think. For me.
I do not have very much experience with the type of hierarchical structures of your is it the order of Helm?
She shakes her head. No. Arcturus, Helm is a god. The order is Order of the Gauntlet.
Right.
Probably because Tyr and Helm and Torm, their symbol. She shakes her head. The order has a structure because that is how we function. Each of us a stone that makes up the great bulwark against evil. But it just means that sometimes we cannot do what we think is right.
I see where I don't understand thinking of oneself as a stone. That's... I come from the sea. I'm a little more flexible, I suppose, than a stone. It's hard for me to, but you have a place. You hold something together. Is that right?
She nods.
If one were to shift, it would bring the whole wall down. That I can understand. I am sorry that you find your place in this to be stressful for you. My companions and I will do anything we can to help.
And I think she goes kind of quiet at that. And when you say, like, my companions and I will do everything we can to help, and she looks out over the camp and she's like, by all the gods, I hope so. And we crossfade to Little Fox. Little Fox, what are you doing? What's happening here?
Okay, so if I grapple this guy, does that mean that I can keep him from talking?
You could make like an opposed athletics roll and try to like wrestle him to the ground, and yeah, we could do some things.
Okay, let's do that because
So
she's like
you're just
tried
gonna
to
lunge?
pull like a sneaky thing and then it didn't work out, and then I'm just gonna like rage and like hand to throat this guy.
Okay, so your rage won't last long if you're not hurting him, right?
No, it'll last long enough to give me advantage on
a
this
single
roll.
attack. Okay, all right. So you fly into a rage and throw yourself at the guy.
Yeah,
okay.
because my cleverness didn't work, and I fly off the handle almost immediately.
Okay, all right.
Yeah. So it's opposed athletics.
Yeah, athletics. I got a 5. Okay, so
okay, I get a 13.
you like rush him and you grab him and you're like wrestling with him.
Yeah, and it's probably just like hand to neck to like pull him to the ground and then just like put another hand over his mouth so he can't talk.
Okay. So he's gonna try to like break free, basically. But I think like what's the long plan here?
I want him to be on. I want to knock him out.
Okay.
So that I can, help out Simber friend.
Okay, yeah, I'll give it to you. We'll just do it with one roll. D&D does not handle this well. It's a very, very thin part of the mechanics.
You just need to punch him repeatedly.
Because otherwise it would be like, we're going to be here for an hour while you each do each other 1 damage. So we'll just say that athletics roll, you subdue him.
Cool.
Yeah, so you like wrestle him to the ground and like,
Yeah, and just like prevent him from breathing for long enough that he passes out.
Mm-hmm. And then he does.
And then just like lean him against the latrine.
Okay.
And walk back to the cage, and like the illusion is gone midway through her doing that too. So it's just like she appears out from inside this.
Yeah,
ranch.
yeah. And Artis, who was sulking, he was in the back of the cage with his hands full of like, oh, fuck, what are we gonna do? What the fuck are we gonna do? He sees you come up. He watches the scuffle, and he sees you come up, and he runs up to the bars, and he grabs the cage, and he sees you in your like actual form, or does he see the thug?
No, he sees me in my actual form,
and he's like, "Hey, Big Blue, what are you doing?"
And she does this,
and he puts his hands. He's like, "Right, sorry. What's going on out there?"
Do you have a daughter?
And he kind of like looks down, and he looks over at the creature, and the creature kind of like puts his hands, like his friend just puts his hands up, and he's like, "That's a complicated question to answer. I'm gonna go with no, that I know of. Why? Who are these guys?"
There's a woman in the big tent. Her name's Zendala. She said she was your daughter.
He's like,
she wants to find you.
I mean, I don't. How? What does she look like?
She has scales and a little dragon friend. Not very friendly, though.
But does she, have my? And it kind of makes a little like, look how handsome I am. Like, she like. And he shakes his head and he's like, "Listen, it's." And he turns and you can smell something like wafting, and he turns and he's like, "Listen, don't like points. You don't know me." Turns back to you. I mean, I guess it's possible, but I mean, probably not.
No friends that would come find you?
He rolls his eyes. "Listen, in my line of business, you don't make a lot of friends." And there's a moment where he like looks kind of like sad, or like there's a weight to that statement. He's trying to make a joke, but like, and he like absently, I think he like touches his hands, like he's rubbing a finger absently while he's talking, and you can see he's got like tattoos on his hands. There's like a word or words there, but you can't make out what they say at a glance. It's too dark.
Yeah, and so she like goes to the gate of the cage and just like grips the door bit and then the not door bit. And she's gonna open it, but before that she just says, "You're gonna get my friend her hat, right?" She wants a hat.
And he nods like takes him a second to remember, like, wait, what?
what lie did I spin about a hat?
What did I say about a hat? But then he remembers and he's like, Oh yeah, the little peck. Yeah, of course. Sure.
And then I'm just gonna like open this door with my hands.
Okay. All right.
Assuming I can.
Sure. Yeah. Make a strength check. Athletics. What's Ben Barr's lift gates in this version of D&D? Like, back in my day, we had a roll for this. Like it's just a feat of strength, so maybe it's just like a strength roll.
I can just roll strength. That's fine.
Yeah.
Can I have advantage because of my powerful build? Does that seem appropriate? It doubles what I can push, drag, or lift.
Yes. Yeah, I think that's reasonable. So a strength check, you can have advantage, but it's going to be hard. I'm going to say like this is a metal cage. So let's say DC 20.
Okay, I'm just going to roll athletics untrained because it'll be the same number.
Okay.
With advantage.
So close. All right, so you're just like
18.
Like, and it's bending, and he's just like, whoa, like watching with wide eyes as you start to bend the cage, and then you have to stop, and he looks at it, he's like, kind of like sucks in his stomach, he's like, all right, let me, and he like tries to get through it, and he's like, I can't, it's not big enough, I'm stuck.
Yeah, and so she's like breathing, and then like is gonna just like keep trying until someone comes to stop her. Or
so before you get another chance, let's cut back to the tent. Malik, you've been dismissed. What are you gonna
do? He turns around, and while he's got his back to the commander and the woman.
So you're still in the tent. You just turned around.
Yeah, he literally turns around and then partly shielded by his body and partly sped up. He breathes in, and you can see like a pained look on his face for a second. And he just really quickly just like flashes his hands out, says something, turns around, and suggests.
If you're casting a spell, you're going to need to roll initiative.
I'm doing it with a quicken spell, so hopefully she doesn't have time to react. It makes my full action spell into a bonus action, so I can just try and do it really
I'll give you
quickly.
advantage on the initiative, but she's a spellcaster too, and if she hears you start being like Baldur's Gate, fucking waving your hands around, like it's very clear in D&D that being stealthy with spells that have verbal and somatic components is impossible.
I should have the other thing.
It's not just like hand wiggling; it's like waving and shouting. So yeah, but it is quickened, so I'll give you advantage on the initiative.
Okay. In which case, I will just roll twice. Okay, there's a 13. See if I can do it before she can react.
Okay. You can. Yep.
Okay. Yeah, I cast suggestion on her.
Okay. So before you do that, let's take a break. And you turn around, you start casting the spell. She starts rising from the table like, "Uh-oh, shit's going down." And then we'll go to break there. And when we get back, we will find out what you do. Stick around. We'll be right back.
Yep, can't hear him. But...
Hello, everybody. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
There we
yes,
go.
sorry.
Hi.
That was. I wasn't sure if that was a minute or.
Yeah.
5.
Sorry. Yeah. We'll figure out why you guys can't hear me on the breaks, but you can hear me now, and that's all that matters. So welcome back. Hello. All right, it's
Hello.
time. It's time for that spell. So
Yes.
you are casting Suggestion on Zendala.
I sure am.
And the suggestion is
It could be up to 2 sentences. So I want to say, why don't you tell us why you're really here?
okay. All right.
Yeah, just to try and puzzle out if she's like charmed him or.
Do you want to drop that save in that spell in the chat?
Yes, I
have it
can.
readily handy, so I don't have to pull it up.
Yeah, I can only do. Okay, it's
There you go.
DC 15
Okay, so she has advantage on this roll
as a half elf. Yep.
as a half elf. Yeah.
No.
So your magic washes over her, like so much jungle rain, and she stands from the table, and she points a finger at you and casts a spell of her own. Can you make a DC 15 will save, please?
Wisdom as well.
Yeah, wisdom save.
I can.
All right. So she gets up and casts a spell, which you deflect too, and then chaos breaks out, right? So let's, I guess, like roll initiative real quick, because things are gonna get worse before they get better.
Yep.
Let me pull us over to the map here, so we can all see what's up.
Okay. Do you want me to keep that same initiative or?
Yes. Yeah. I'll just pop the order open.
Sounds good.
So what was what was yours, Malik?
It was 13. I was just going to re-roll it and then edit, but you can put it as well.
Yeah, I can just add it in. Okay, so you got 13. And little fox is over here.
Am I part of this initiative thing?
You might as well roll, just
Great.
because.
I'm fast.
Okay. I have a fair bit of initiative to roll here because I also have to add a bunch of NPCs tokens and stuff to the map.
Yeah.
Because casting a spell on someone makes them not happy. So let me just give me a
I'm
second.
farther away than you've placed me, right?
Yes, yeah, you're not literally just sitting outside.
Yeah. Okay. You just
And while I was thinking on the break, while Adam does this,
Mm-hmm.
and I enjoyed, I do enjoy, I think it's important to talk about this stuff. Blue Jay, I don't think you did anything wrong at all. You played your character, and now I'm counter playing my character, I think.
I'm not, like, I don't actually think that I'm doing anything wrong.
Okay, that's good. Because I saw you talking in chat. And
I just YouTube comment tears. It's fine.
I just wanted to make sure we were cool despite having
No, I'm just pre-anticipating everyone hating how I make my in-character decisions. It's fine. Like, I still make them because I still think that they're what my character would do.
All right,
Good.
so Zendala, what did I get for her for initiative? Like 7, I think?
Yeah, I think she got
No, she got a 5.
5.
Yeah, because we got 13. Okay. Now let me roll one for old Commander Niles here. And I'll roll one for the thugs.
I realize
Sir, image not available.
Sir Image, exactly. Sir not appearing in this film.
Is he a tiny baby head inside some chainmail?
Yeah, tiny baby head and some chainmail. And then I'll roll for the guards just because, it's important. Where are they?
God, those thugs are quick on the draw.
Yes, they're about to beat the shit out of Malik too. Okay, all right. So let me descend to this order. Yes, so the thugs leap into action when Zendala casts her spell. She stands up and points and shouts, and the rasping magic. Her familiar wakes up suddenly and burps. and is attentive, and then the thugs, they're gonna move. Now you're gonna blocking the exit unless someone cuts open the tent, but all of these thugs like rush at you, Malik.
Okay.
And they are going to lay into you with their maces. They have big heavy clubs they're gonna use to. You ruined their fun party. They were having a great time until you showed up. So here we go. 8 attacks. You let me know if you want to do anything for each of these. So here's the first one.
All right. I think I saved the luck points for crits.
Okay, so there's 5 damage.
All right.
Here's the second one. Oh, and they all have advantage because they have pack tactics.
Yeah.
Second one misses. Great. Okay, so here's the third one for 6.
All right.
Well, it's been a pleasure adventuring with you, Dave.
Fourth one, which is a miss, but just barely. The fifth one for 6.
Okay.
Okay, I got 3 more. Sixth one for 7.
Yeah. You can use this number instead. No, you can't. No, you can't. Take another 7.
Okay. And
What's your AC, Dave?
15.
Let's see. That's
okay.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I got 2 more.
Please no.
Okay, there's one for 3.
No. You can have this. No, no, Dave. What are you doing?
So unlucky. All right.
I'm already unconscious.
You're unconscious. Okay. So
unless you want to kill me, which is
so
fine.
they're not attacking to kill you. They're attacking to knock you unconscious, which they do.
Certainly do.
So they drop you to 0 and you're knocked out. So basically they jump on you. One of them like grabs you and punches you in the stomach. The other one bats you over the back of the head. And this is basically just like 4 like burly criminal types just like beating on you. Just like they just knock you out. And we stay with the scene, right? Your head hits the table and you fall on the floor. One of them lifts you up and you're like limp in their arms. And Zandala looks at the commander, and the commander looks at her, and she says, "Well, there's still room in the cage, isn't there?" And he nods and just kind of like slumps down and like waves, like, "Get this out of my way." And then they like take you outside. So meanwhile, this thug is also unconscious. Meanwhile, Little Fox, what are you doing? You don't really hear any of this, I don't think.
Yeah, I think this is just attempt 2 at tearing this cage open with my bare hands.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so the thugs won't do anything.
I can see where this is going, Adam. I can see where this is going. But I think this is my best move. So with advantage again.
Nice.
There it is.
Okay, there you go. All right, so you're like.
So she. There's like horrible, metal wrenching sound as she tears the door off.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. The door rips open, and Artis looks at you like, "Wow, nice work."
And I'm gonna throw my warhammer to his burly lizard friend.
Mm-hmm.
Which is not my so I'm keeping my biggest hammer.
Mm-hmm.
I'm giving the middle-sized hammer to his friend. I've still got my backup weapon, and Little Fox is gonna try to like get a sense of what's going on in the camp. But that's my action for the round. Certainly.
Yeah, you could still move, but that's about it. Okay.
I'll like move over here.
Okay.
So I can see better.
All right. Okay, so you move over. Yeah, you move over there, and so that's you. Malik is unconscious. Niles doesn't do anything. Zandala stays where she is. The guards all kind of like are still goofing around, and then the thugs, they're gonna start moving. So when you're dragging someone, basically you move half your movement rate, right? I think that's
so.
how it works. Okay. Well, there's 2 of them.
Yeah, I believe so. Yeah, that's what you do when you're grappling someone, but. If there's
But
2
you're
of them,
unconscious, and there's 2 of them, so let's just.
They're just carrying a big sack.
Fine.
Okay, so you see them,
essentially.
2 of them carrying Malik, like hanging unconscious. He's bloody. There's like blood dripping out of his nose, and like he's got a black eye. He's been beaten in the head a bunch of times. And you see
They haven't just punched me; they've hit me with maces.
maces. Yeah, your shit is all fucked up. So they come out here dragging Malik, and then I think, let's see, that's probably about as far as they get. They get out to the fire. And what's their passive perception? I think it's decent. They might see you, but we'll see. It's like 10. It's 50-50. I'm going to roll. Okay, yeah. So one of them spots you, and they see the broken cage, and they're like, he points. He's like, "Hey, what's that?" And the others, they see it, and one of them shouts, "Zendala, we got visitors!" And they drop Malik on the ground, unceremoniously on the
Poor little guy.
on the earth there. Yeah. So you can go if you want to.
It's my turn.
It can be. Yep.
So I can talk a little bit. It doesn't take my action, right?
Yeah. Sure.
So yeah, she just like turns back, and I'm mostly talking to the Dino Man.
I should add turns for them too. Hold on.
But yeah, mostly talking to the Dino Man. She just says, "Help me fight, and then you can go." And then she just goes into a rage and runs at these dudes.
Okay. And artist got artist got a 9, and Dragonbait got an 18. Okay.
And so yeah, I'm gonna run over here. I'm gonna pop my rage. I'm gonna recklessly attack this first one.
Okay.
With the maul. It was almost a crit.
Yeah,
it's 25 a hit, Adam.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they're not very
great.
Armored.
I deal 15 damage to him.
Okay. All right. So this beast comes rushing out at them. And
yeah, they're just like an animal roar as she charges in.
Okay. Yeah, and so you come rushing in with your maul, smash one of them, staggers back from Malik's body as far as you know. And Malik stays snoozing. Oh yeah, you're rage now, right?
Yeah, I'm in a rage.
Have they taken the time to stabilize me, or am I making rolls?
No, you're just at 0. They brought you to 0 and left you there.
Yeah, they were.
They're doing subdual damage or whatever.
Okay.
Their intent was to knock you out.
Right, that makes sense.
Okay, and then let me slot that in there, and that's at 9 now. Okay, so anyway, the commander probably gets up like, "Oh, something's going on," and he goes to the door to see what's up. Then Artis comes out of his cage, looks down at the thug, and we see him. He looks up at his friend, and he's like, "Come on, buddy, we got to get out of here." And his friend gives a stern kind of look and emits a smell, and Artis is like taking the thug's mace and is holding it, and he's like patting the guy down, and he looks up at his friend, and he's like, "Well, no, I don't care about them." And then you see him hold up his hand, and you could see the like tan line where our ring would be. He's like, "Ah, hell." And he like flips the mace into either hand, and he slips away this way, and I think he's gonna disappear. He goes sneaky, and he goes this direction. So he's gonna take the hide action, and he's gonna move that way. Zendala is gonna make her move out here, and yeah, I think she can. I think she's going to finish her round up over there. So she goes around this tent. Maybe like an acolyte is coming out of the tent. She pushes her out of the way. The guards still don't really know what to do. So the thugs are going to go. This thug moves his entire movement rate to try to get into the fight. So he comes running around the corner. Okay. So let's see. The remaining thugs close in on Little Fox. So they surround you, and now it's your turn to receive 8 drubbings by priests or by thugs. So let me grab the thug character sheet. 8 attacks at advantage. Here we go. But at least the damage is halved.
Yep.
Okay, so that's 1 for 8.
That misses because
yeah,
I have
16
DC
now.
16 now.
So there's 2, 3.
It's not so easy when
4.
you're fighting someone your own size.
There we go. Finally hits you for 1.
Could have
So you
done
take 2
with
damage.
fast.
So that's 4 attacks. Here's another 4. 1, 2.
So
It's another
I
2,
take
then another
4.
2. Yeah. So you've taken 6 so far, right?
Yep.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Okay, there you go.
And another 3.
Yeah, so they're just wailing on you, and you can't feel it. You're getting bruised and battered and beaten, but
Just hitting her with sticks, and she's like, "Argh!"
go down, damn you! All right. And then this dude, he follows his friend. He's got a total move of 60, so he's going to come up and try to jump on this thug. So we see him, we see Dragonbait, which is his name. We see Dragonbait sneak in between the 2 layers of tents, slip through, and then burst out from behind one of the tent holding this warhammer, and he's going to go and try to fight the thug on his next turn. Little Fox, it's your turn.
I will take another reckless swing, because I may as well. They got advantage anyways, right? So
Yep.
Yeah, reckless attack against the same one that I hit previously. Does a 24 hit.
It does, yes.
Another 15 damage.
All right, not down yet.
Damn, these guys are tough.
They are quite tough, yes. Okay, so you are fighting for your life as these guys pummel you with heavy sticks.
Yeah, and there's lots of like bellowing and swinging at empty air, and then occasionally catching one of them.
Mm-hmm. Okay. The commander is like shouting at his guards, like, "Stay on the walls! Remember, enemies without!" And he's like, "I'll handle this." And he drunkenly kind of like is shouting orders, ankle deep in mud. Artis will continue moving towards the tent. But now
Also,
I actually have to roll stealth for him.
Little Fox's bellowing is definitely something Arcturus recognizes as a they are fighting now sound.
Arcturus, do you want to make a perception check?
Just putting it out there.
You're muted, Blue Jay.
You're muted somehow.
Something got unplugged. Nope. All right, so not only can Arcturus not hear you, but we cannot hear Arcturus. So I'm gonna roll stealth for Artis Cimber here, who is not trained in stealth. That sounds like Blue Jay.
Sorry,
yeah,
am I
we can
bad?
hear you now.
Yeah, you're good now.
That was weird.
Okay, so let's see how he does. Ooh, lucky. Okay, so he's got a stealth of 19. So you see him, Little Fox, you're fighting, and you just see him do the cartoonish do. Like he looks at you like you're doing a good job, and he sneaks towards the.
It's totally the kind of situation where he could just walk normally.
Yeah.
There's so much other shit happening.
But he's sneaking towards the tent, and he gets up to the tent, and he doesn't have a knife or anything. So he's looking for a way to get into this tent, and he stops there.
So I can roll
make a perception check to see if you hear the battle cries of. Yes.
I hear battle cries, and I probably
No one else in the camp hears it.
I was in a conversation with several of them. No one at the camp was asleep yet, so we wouldn't be either. So I would probably be like, I fear that something may have gone awry.
And she looks at you like, why?
That yelling?
She shakes her head, and all she can hear is there's a gorilla somewhere in the jungle.
Some jungle animal.
Yeah.
That is definitely Little Fox, and she is definitely angry.
It seems to me that that's how she is all the time.
You haven't seen angry.
She shrugs and she says, I can't leave my men, but
I don't know. You haven't seen Little Fox fight. I don't know that she will be able to tell friend from foe. If you want the men of yours who are still in the camp to remain, we should probably help, is what I'm saying.
Roll a persuasion check.
Yeah. Blah, blah, blah. 10?
She's not leaving. She says if you want to head over there, if you want to go to the camp, you're welcome to, but
I need to remember to give myself guidance. Anywho,
hold on before I try to convince you. Now, what was I saying?
Dearest Tushia, please give me the power to persuade this babe.
Yeah, so she's just like, no, I have to stay here at camp with my men. If you feel the need to go running off after your friend.
Sure, I'll be right back. I'm sure it's not. And then I would, yeah.
So your camp is at the edge of the woods, and there's like a no man's land.
Yeah, I don't know how far that would
and you can run at top speed 60 feet a turn, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Is he like 2 or 3 rounds away?
I think so. Yeah, I think you're like 3 rounds of just like booking it across no man's land to get there.
Yep, that makes sense. Yep.
Let me.
I love it. I'm just going to go and then like dead sprint.
Yeah, I have to, and you're like running through the darkness, just booking it towards the post. Okay, so let me roll initiative, Arcturus.
Oops, I didn't select my token.
It's okay. Perfect. Okay. Arcturus, Slovuzexeth. All right, so you're at the bottom of the order, and basically just every turn make a note, and once you've completed 3 turns, you're at the edge of the pit.
Okay.
Okay. So that was Artis's turn. Now it is Zandala's turn. So Zandala.
Rip me.
Yeah. Just need to look up how a spell works, and then I'm going to ask you to make a saving throw. Oops, I'm looking in the wrong thing.
I wish I had the feature where being enraged makes me harder to charm and stuff. I wish I had that.
Okay, here we go.
What's that from? How do
so
you get that?
she starts to wave her hands, and you can see magical energy floating around her fingers, and then she goes and like blows it in the air towards you. I need you to make a wisdom saving throw, please.
You're good at wisdom.
Am I?
So,
I'm 7 good at wisdom.
So here's what happens. You go from being surrounded by these guys beating on you, and then all of a sudden you blink and your point of view is much lower, and you notice like you're very disoriented because she's turned you into a pig. You are a pig now. She has polymorphed you into a pig.
I wasn't going to win that wizard fight.
Oh, no, you were not. She cast a spell on you that was much stronger than the version you cast on her. But yes, so she turns Little Fox into a pig. So she's like, and you, and then thump down onto the ground in pig form.
Right. Am I still an enraged pig?
You are enraged, but you're a pig for up to 1 hour.
Good.
The target assumes the hit points of its new form. When you revert to your normal form, you have the number of hit points you had before you transformed. You're limited in the actions you can perform by the nature of your new form. Your gear melds into you, but you can't use any of it.
Okay, how many pig hit points do I have?
Let me see. Pig? Boar, maybe? I think. Let me see what the game gives me. D&D, what have you got for pigs? Boar? Maybe? Yeah. Okay, she turns you into a boar. That works. Let me make sure that the boar is reasonable. So, turns you into a beast whose challenge rating is equal to or less than the target's. Okay, perfect. So she can't upscale you. Okay, so you turn into a pig. You are now a boar. I will put a boar token on the table. I'll give you control over it.
What a boring turn of events, Adam.
Okay. All right. So this boar is you now. You have 11 hit points and an armor class of 11. I'm just gonna shift you into the GM layer here. Yeah, cool. So you turn into
my
into
whole
a pig.
everything went black, Adam.
Mm-hmm.
Can't
That's
see.
okay. You're surrounded by baddies. I wonder if I can change it so that it just, let's see because it says represent character. I wonder if I can change this without changing. It'll change your stats if I give you if I give you this boar. So yeah, I'll
you can just put the pig token.
I'll put the pig token on top of
my
you
token.
if you want to. Yeah, if you want to keep seeing what's up. Okay.
Because I want to be able to see.
All right, so just ignore yourself. I'll take care of pig hit points and stuff. So you turn back into a pig, and Zendala like shakes her head. She's like, idiot
Another job
adventurers.
well done.
And when we see her do that, she like pats her hand. We get a close up of her, and there's the lamplight around her neck. We see a gold ring etched with an intricate white pattern, and then I think she looks at the cage and sees that it's been ripped open, and she shouts to the thugs. She's like, "Finish with that thing, and then go and find Simber." So Arcturus,
Yeah.
you run for it.
Foot run.
Okay, so 2 of the thugs are going to try to hog tie you, little fox. So we're gonna do an opposed athletics for you because you are in boar form. Can you roll? Just roll with a +1. Roll d20 +1.
Yeah. Here's the thing, though, Adam. I will roll this twice because I'm enraged.
Okay.
Because I still have advantage.
Go pig.
Yeah, I mean they're going to be cartoonishly wrestling with this pig for a bit, but we'll see. And they get advantage too because there's 2 of them. They're both trying to wrestle you. So, oh, that's pig
I rolled
poor.
poorly.
All right, so the thugs. Yeah, so we'll do the same way we did the other thing. They basically grab onto you. One of them grabs you and like holds you down, and you're kicking your little feet, but probably not squealing because you're a little fox.
No, it's like bellowing. It's making this like Princess Mononoke giant boar style like
Terrifying.
And the other one ties your feet. And so they restrain they restrain Miss Piggy over here. And
I like to imagine Ishii just following after Simber and like pestering him about the hat and like where his stuff is.
The other 2 thugs are going to they turn and they see Artis Simber standing there, and Artis turns around, he puts his hands up and he's like, boys, we can be reasonable about this. Look, I just wanted to get my bag and then I was going to be on my way. The lady has the ring, okay? We don't have to be. And he like looks over and he sees his friend fighting with this other thug. So let's see what his base attack.
Get him, dragon bait.
So
murder this guy.
His base attack bonus is, God, it's gonna be hard to, because he's like a monster block, so I have to disentangle him from his normal attack. So 5. So he gets a plus. It looks like a +2 to hit. So let's just roll that. I'll roll his strength. He misses. So he takes a swing, and the 2 of them are fighting. And we can see that he's like, Dragonbait is an accomplished fighter, but he's not used to fighting with a warhammer, and so he's not doing so good.
A +2.
Yes, because he has a weapon normally on his stat block that gives him a +3 to hit, and he has a total of +5.
That's weird.
That's
like that feels low.
That's what his character sheet says. Let me double check.
No, you're probably right.
Oh no, sorry. It's I was looking at the damage. He's got another plus. Let's see, 8. Another +3.
Presumably he's
it's +5
in it.
It's +5 total. Yeah, it's his proficiency bonus. Yeah, so it's actually a +5, but that still wouldn't have hit. So what can I roll instead? I guess I can just give him here.
Yeah, I have a +5 on my warhammer.
Warhammer. To hit +5. What's the damage on a warhammer?
1d8 +3, or 1d8 plus.
It's plus his strength.
Plus strength
modifier.
Yeah. So let me just test it real quick. Warhammer, Dragonbait. That's correct. And then a hit is okay. Good. So that's the damage.
Oh no! If you're using it 2-handed, it's 1d10. By the way.
Yes, he would be.
For Warhammer.
Perfect. Thank you.
Oh, I use it.
Because he doesn't have a shield. Yeah. Okay. Great. So we have adjusted Dragonbait accordingly. He also gets a second attack because he has multi-attack. So let me just fix that for him. So 1d10, you said?
Yeah, 1d10 damage.
Okay, so this is his second attack. That one hits for 4 damage. All right.
I was really hoping this guy would be a huge badass.
He is when he has his proper weaponry. So little fox, you're like tied up. This is not you can't strength burst free from these ropes. You're like restrained.
Can I roll over into the fire?
No, they're holding you down. Like the plan here is to pick you up and like carry you somewhere else. You could try to get free of them.
Can I try to wriggle free of them and roll into the fire?
But you're tied up, so disadvantage. But you try to wriggle free. Yeah.
Is it a strength check?
It's an athletics check. Yep.
Okay, great.
Little pig.
I have advantage still.
Yeah, because you're still in rage.
My rage
wait,
hasn't ended?
you didn't take any damage. Yeah, you didn't take any damage, and you haven't hit anything since your last turn.
Well, my last action was murdering a thing with my
I guess
hammer.
this is your last round of rage.
Yeah.
Because if this one ends, then you're.
So I still have advantage, which cancels out the disadvantage. So it's just a straight up roll.
Yep.
Athletics. I get a 21.
Mm-hmm.
But you roll a nat 20.
I got a 22. Yep. So so you're squealing and kicking and trying to get away, and they're like, no, not so fast, little pig. Come here. Artis, God, what is he gonna do? Because he has a club and he can't really fight. Like he's just like, and I think he just drops the club and he puts his hands up and he's like, all right. I mean, you're gonna need a new cage. One of the thugs socks him in the face, and I think he just goes down. I think he just like he lets himself get taken out of the fight. He's not a good fighter. Like he just. Yeah, so he just.
What is he good at, Adam? He can't make
out.
hats. He can't get out of cages. What is he good
talking
for?
Shit. Zandala, I think, is going to go and help with the dragon bait situation. So she comes striding through the camp, walks over your body. Where's a good? I guess she stands here next to you, Malik. And what's she gonna do? Let me see what spells she has left. Where are you, Zandala? Okay, so she's already cast. Oh, okay, she could try to polymorph again. So maybe she will do that. Yeah, let's make a save. Let's see if Dragon Bait gets turned into a pig too. Dragon Bait. And what kind of, it's a wisdom save, right?
That's what you made me roll.
Okay. Makes it. All right. So he's unaffected by that spell. Arcturus.
That's 2.
Running for it. It's concentration, right? She wouldn't have cast that again. All right. So I'll just keep her. I'm going to keep her spell on the list. So she's just observing for now. She thinks the thugs can take him out. Yeah, that makes sense. I forgot that it was concentration in this version. Okay. So the thugs, now that they've dealt with Simber, I feel like Dragonbait isn't going to fight to the death here. I think he gives up too. I think that the both of them, like now that Artis is unconscious, he's not here to fight to the death. And I think he surrenders as well. And they probably like knock him out. So Little Fox, what are you going to do? Do you want to try to keep fighting it, like fighting free here, or what's the,
I'm going to rage again because my rage ends.
No, okay, so this is where we got to get into the discussion of polymorph. I don't think you can polymorph again now. Because...
Or rage again? Does it say that I lose all my class features?
We did rule that we couldn't use those features back in White Plume, but I don't know if you want to do the same.
So the transformation lasts for the duration. The target's game statistics, including mental ability scores. So you're only as smart as the pig. Yeah, you are a pig in every meaningful way. So you can't rage because... a pig does not have that ability.
Okay, well, I'm going to try to do it anyways with disadvantage then. Get free, roll myself into the fire to burn the rope, and like GTFO. That is my goal.
Okay, well, the thugs still get to go, right? If you're still like struggling.
Yeah.
So I think if they have you grappled, they're going to try to drag you away, like to throw you in the cage. because they know the spell won't last forever. So they move half their movement rate and drag you with them. So they move 15 and then another 15 there. So they get you over by the unconscious guy. Okay. So yeah, now on your turn.
Yeah. Desperate bid for freedom. I guess I'm not even rolling my thing. I'm rolling the pig stat. So hold on.
Yeah. So the opposed is 17. And the boar has... Yeah.
If I'm rolling at disadvantage, then I can't possibly succeed because I get a 16 as my...
Yeah.
Is this roll here? So, yep.
Yep.
Won't even bother rolling the second.
Okay, so yeah, you get hucked in the cage, and I think that like because all three of you are kind of like out of the fight, Arcturus, you arrive after the fight is over, and you don't know what's going on inside, but we all do. Let me just let's move all this shit around. Artis is back in the cage, and the cage is much more cramped now. All four of them have been thrown into the cage. And
the door, while it doesn't quite work, is still being guarded.
Yes, and now there's like 3 guards. And I think they're probably in the midst of like finding some way to like fix up the cage or do something to like improve it. But let's see, roll the minimum amount of time that it'll take for things to happen without interruption. Let's have a roll, Malik, and I'll roll for them. So Artis, roll a d4. Yeah. Damn knows what's up. 3, 3, and 1. Okay, so Artis wakes up after an hour, which is about the same time that Little Fox turns back into Little Fox.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So
well, I get to the camp way before.
And way before that. Well, you get to the vicinity of the camp, which is still being guarded. So do you just like run up? You're coming in from the north. Do you just like run up to the edge of the thing shouting and waving your hands? Because the fighting sounds stop pretty quickly, like before you get there.
I guess, yeah, like I run to the edge of the pit and like there's all these like spikes and stuff.
And you're not making any effort to be hidden?
No.
Okay. So yeah, the guards are they see you and they see you coming and they point their bow at you and one of them shouts, Who's there?
And I like think and I'm like close my eyes and I'm like, it's me, the fish man.
Make a persuasion check. You can make it with advantage.
Okay. Persuasion. 20.
Nice. Okay. Yeah. So the guard is like, oh, hey, aren't you supposed to be on a mission?
We got waylaid. My companions, didn't they come back to the camp and discuss this?
He looks over his shoulder at the cage and he's like, yeah, we got some of your friends here.
And I mean, it sounded like there was a bit of a... I came running because I heard a ruckus.
He says, yeah, your wizard friend picked a fight with the commander's new friends.
And that went... Is anyone dead?
He looks back and he shuts down. He's like, any of them die? And there's like a gruff voice from underneath. And he looks over. He's like, I don't think so. One of them got turned into a pig, though.
I never seen Malik do that, so it must have been the other one. Right. Could I... right. Thank you. I don't suppose that... This is awkward. I told her that I wouldn't follow her. I told the commander that I would go on this thing, and you know what? I'll be back. Yeah.
He just scratches his head. He's like, all right, good luck with your mission or whatever.
I think we'll need it. Thank you.
He gives you a little salute. Have fun out in the jungle.
And like, I think that Arcturus is very much like, all right, so someone turn, because the thing is that like, I know that Malik can't turn things into pigs, or at least he hasn't done that before.
You've certainly never seen Malik use that ability. Yeah.
Like he said that my wizard friend got in a fight with another spellcaster, which like can't have been any of the people already in the camp, so it must have been that girl. No one's dead, so if I go in there, it's probably only gonna get worse because she'll get mad at me.
Yeah, so you wanna head back. I think we see you coming back. Like we don't need to like watch you the whole way, but like so you come back through the jungle, and the captain like stands up and goes for a sword, and then she realizes it's you. She looks at you and she says, "Is everything okay? What happened?"
As far as I can understand, Malik and Little Fox, in attempting to figure out if the camp was in danger, got disarmed. There was a fight.
She nods. She says, "I could have told you that. Did you see the look in her eyes when she left? She didn't go there to have a conversation."
Yes. If I return now, I have a feeling that the commander would be upset. And that woman did ask me very forcefully not to follow her. Honestly, I'm very conflicted at this moment and would like your advice.
My advice about what?
If I go back alone to try and, I don't know, negotiate for the release of my friends, it's very likely that I will just end up with them in a cage.
She's nodding as you speak. Yes.
It will take us several days if we are to try alone now to go figure out what happened to our friends in the jungle. And by then, my friends could be executed, or I don't know how your captain deals with captives, but this woman is much more capable than my friend at well, I don't know what she's capable of. I don't know what her intentions are, but she didn't kill them.
She nods. She says, "Yes, you're in a bit of a spot, aren't you?"
Do you think that your commander would put them to death for starting a fight?
Not if no one got killed. Eye for an eye, hand for a hand, that sort of thing. But if they've committed a crime, if they've attacked someone in the camp that the commander considers to be his ally, he's a harsh man. They're likely to stay prisoners until either they die of starvation or disease. They'll get no medical treatment. They're going to be locked in that cage for a long time. And if someone does come from Port Nanzaru, he'll send them back and they'll be tried there.
I do not intend to leave them there for untold days or weeks. I just think that I would be on better grounds to negotiate if we came back having done what we set out to do. As opposed to not having done that.
She sighs and she says,
do you think that we are capable without them of going to see if your party members have survived in the jungle?
You know, I've been thinking about it, and if I'm honest with myself and the gods, those men we're going to find, they're dead already. The best we can do is find their shields and bring them home. She looks over at her men, some of whom are asleep and others just kind of sitting quietly, and she says, I'm risking their lives for more. But what else is there to do? She sighs and looks down and she says, this is not the quest I signed up for. I had thought we would be fighting monsters, saving villagers, that sort of thing, but this jungle, it's brought nothing but misery to me and my men, to the whole order. Everything's falling apart. And she's sitting right on a log, and she like puts her hands on her head, and she's just like, I don't know what to do anymore. And you can see like the despair just like dragging her down.
So you believe that these men are dead?
She looks up at you and she's like, quietly now. I mean, I've never seen anyone go into the jungle and come back alive, ourselves included. For all I know, this is a trick. We're in Siric's realm. This is a hell. We've all died already.
I probably wouldn't be in the same. I think that we think of the afterlife differently. So rest assured, that's probably not the case, at least in my estimation. I, like you, would rest easier knowing that the men that you sent to the jungle were alive or dead or captured. Do you think that it is capable for us to find that out with the party that we have present currently? Or are we just going to meet our own end?
If we go north now, it will be days, maybe longer before we can return. You're leaving your friends. And if by some miracle, or in your case, curse, reinforcements do arrive, we might come back to an empty camp. She shakes her head and she says, I don't know what things are like, where you're from, how people are, but I will tell you this. Breakbone didn't name the camp Vengeance for no reason. It's just the sort of person he is.
I just do not see how I, with the skills that I have, can get my friends out of that cage. I am more likely to join them, and then what help am I?
She nods and she says, well, you seem a good and stalwart sort to me, but... So it occurs to you that if you go there with her, she can like speak for you, and you may not just get thrown into jail right away. But you would have to convince her of that.
Yeah, exactly. And I guess like that's the next thing that Arcturus would be like.
And she already kind of likes Malik, so.
Yeah, and I would be like, I cannot go alone to your commander and request or be heard at all. But if you accompanied me back to the camp, perhaps we could... It was all just a big misunderstanding. We still need Malik and Little Fox to get to do the mission, right? If we just... You know him better than I do. We could try. He won't throw you in the cage.
She raises an eyebrow like, you don't understand the situation.
I don't.
She says, the commander might be willing to listen to me. What was this guy's name? Firebeard, I think. She says, how well does Captain Firebeard like you? Do you have a rapport with him? You and your friends?
He likes Little Fox very much, from what I understand of.
And Sister Sias, did you have a chance to speak with her above and beyond your helping her with the sick? Would she speak for you?
Humans.
She shakes her head and she says, if you want to go back to the camp, I will come with you. I don't want to send these men to their doom, and if you think your friends are in danger, I have to learn when to let go. Their lives are more likely to continue inside that camp than out.
Thank you.
But do you think now is the time? It's the middle of the night. Tempers are still high.
I'm sure we can wait till morning. Your captain doesn't do midnight executions, does he?
She shakes her head. We don't execute people. Leastwise, not those we consider people, anyway.
of that whole like, oh, we don't execute people, we just leave them to starve in a cage. We're
You won't
civilized.
starve one night. It's
I
fine.
mean, it's yeah. Like the thing is, there's jungle justice, right? Okay, so Arcturus, you were able to get a long rest in, because there is that.
Get my spells back.
Some hours later, little fox, you turn back into a person, but you're still like they've tied you up, right? So you're because they know you're strong, right? So you're still hogtied, but you're a person.
Okay.
And you're in the cage, which has got its door like kind of jammed back on, and it's being guarded. And Artis, you see him when you kind of come to. Artis is like holding his friend, and kind of shaking him, like, "Come on, buddy, come on, you wake up." And he sees that you're like conscious, and he looks over at you. And he shakes his head, and he's like, I just wanted to get out of here." And when you look at him, can you make a perception check?
Who, little old me?
Yeah, please. Yeah. All right, it's dark, but you're perceptive. It seems that he has more like gray hair than he did before, like in his beard and at his temples, and he has like his wrinkles seem like deeper than they were before. And he's like, yeah, he's got his friend. He's like, "Come on, buddy, wake up."
Yeah, little fox is busy being angry about being tied up
Mm-hmm.
at the moment, I think. So she doesn't pay him much attention and just kind of is like nudging Malik with her foot or with her knee or something.
Okay.
'Cause, yeah, if I'm
So
actually
if you don't-
if my arms are tied to my feet, then
You're like lying on your side.
yeah.
So when you I guess then we can move ahead some hours later. The Malik and Dragonbait wake up, and Dragonbait and Arcturus is having Artis is having a conversation with Dragonbait quietly, and he's like, well, we weren't gonna leave your stuff behind. No, I know, and now she has the ring. Well, I can't very well get it like this. No, I feel fine. Why? I'm fine. Sorry. And he looks over at you, Malik, and you're like coming to, and your head is like throbbing, like someone jammed an ice pick in there.
Well, that didn't go how I wanted it to go.
And he looks at you and he's like, yeah, you and me both, and Big Blue over there. It's been a rough night. And he turns around, like he's standing now. He turns around and he's like, we would have been fine if it weren't for these Zentish pigs. And they turn around and he's like, yeah, I'm talking to you. And the guy just like spits on the ground. He's like, shut up, Simber. And Artis is like, if I wasn't in this cage. And the guy walks over to him and he puts his hand, like Artis takes a step back. He's like, whoa, I mean, I didn't mean anything by it. And the thug taps the bars of his mace and he's like, that's right. Look at you. You ain't got your fancy ring now. And Artis is like, just like, you can hear his teeth grind.
So that's what she was after.
And he looks over at you and he's like, what? And the thug kind of like, goes back to
The woman. She, no relation, just wanted this magic item of yours.
Yeah, it's looking like. And he holds his hand up and you can see the space where the ring was. He says, I don't know what happened. 1 minute I had it, then I didn't.
Do you know her? Who she is?
I've never seen that snake in my life. Kind of cute though. If you like him, evil.
Malik shrugs. She's a much stronger spellcaster than I am. That's for sure.
Yeah, he's like, well, yeah, you and me both.
I like pat myself down. Like, what stuff do I still have?
Nothing. They would have taken. She's smart enough to have taken your spell components.
Yeah.
Yeah, because she's a sorcerer too. So yeah, she would have taken anything that would have let you cast spells.
Well, I know one of my friends was at least planning on helping you break out in the first place, but now it looks like we're going to have to work together. You hadn't had the conversation yet.
There's a thug standing like hella within earshot, right? So if you're gonna be
like, sorry, I thought you said he'd walked away.
Well, I mean, you can, you can. I mean, you guys can see on the map, right? Like, that's where they are.
Oh, it's underneath my character sheet. Okay, yeah. So instead of that, he says, "Oh," after he pats himself down and like shrugs and says, "Guess we're in for a wait until something changes."
And he looks out like into the dark, and he says, "I gotta get that ring back." And he's just like staring, kind of like hungrily into the darkness. So I think like the night goes by because there isn't really, you can't like, you could try, I guess, to like break free, but they're all still here. So unless there's something you want to do, you could take I guess like a short rest, but not a long one because you're all jammed in this cage and it's really uncomfortable. No one can really sleep.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind going back to full health at least.
I mean, yeah, you can spend your hit dice and stuff if you want to. Okay. So sometime near dawn, the thugs are swapped out for guards, and Zandala comes back one last time, because she's a villain. She's come back one last time to gloat as her men are getting ready to leave. So she comes back and she's smiling and she looks like she had a great sleep, and she's got this ring around her neck, and she looks at Artis and she's like, "You look like hell, Simber." And he looks up at her and he's like, just kind of squints at her, and she says, "I guess that's what happens." Like holds the ring in her hand, and she's like, "I've been hunting you for months. You should never have come back to the jungle. God, you're a fool. We lost track of you in Waterdeep, but here you are, and here I am, and now I've got your ring, and you're going to die out here in the jungle." And she looks at Dragonbait, "With your stupid, smelly friend." She grins. She's like, "Today's going to be a great day. I don't even have to kill you." And she looks past you at the other two, and she says, she grins and then looks back at him. She's like, "It's fitting, really. I spent all this time trying to chase you down, trying to kill you and get the ring. And now the Order of the Gauntlet's going to do it for me. Have a nice time being executed, traitors." And she walks away, and you see her walk by one of the thugs, and she's like, "Come on, let's go." And the thug turns back and looks at you like, tough life. And so she disappears from view. So as that's happening, as her folks are getting ready to go, what's happening at the camp out in the woods?
I mean, I think that we get up and I like make sure that what's her face? What's her name? I get NPC names.
Oh, the captain. Her name is Captain. Yeah. I want to call her Captain Phaedra, but that's not her name. Her name is something fantasy sounding.
Okay, well, the captain. I make sure that the captain
call her the captain for now.
Still on board with going back to the camp with me and trying to make sure that my friends don't get dead.
Her name is Captain Salhana.
And if she is, then yeah, that's what we would do.
Okay. So I guess you probably arrive at the gates as they're being opened to let these folks out. So how does that go? Are you trying to make an effort to stay hidden in the crowd of soldiers, or?
I mean, I think when I see the lady, I'm like, ugh. And yeah, probably try and not get spotted by her.
Okay, make a stealth. Make a. This would be like a inconspicuous with some ob penalties, but yeah, go ahead and make a
stealth.
Make a stealth roll.
Yep, this is gonna go great.
10. Okay. So she sees you as they're leaving. So you see this group of thugs, one of whom is like bandaged and looks like pretty beat up. You see them coming out, and she comes out and looks at you, and you're with the soldiers, and she's like, kind of pouts a little. She's like, well, what are you doing back here? Didn't we have an agreement?
I found my companions and I couldn't persuade them not to. I'm not good with talking. Generally.
She looks you up and down and she shakes her head and she says, you know, if I weren't having such a great morning, I'd probably light you on fire right now. You're lucky I'm in such a good mood. And
Did you find it?
So she starts to push past you. Like, she's like, I don't want to talk to you. Like, I'm in a good mood. You're allowed to live. See you later. But you can talk to her as she's walking by.
Yeah, so. I would have been like, did you find your father? Because he's not like in the group.
And she looks over her shoulder and she says, oh, that old man? I got everything I needed from him.
Okay. Thanks for not lighting me on fire.
So her and her men, they actually go over to these boats, and they like unhook a couple of them, like enough for the group of them to get in, and they just take them, and they leave. They set out across the river.
I mean, I guess I would assume that they were like allowed to if the guards aren't stopping them. So.
Yeah, there's a lot of like confused look, but yeah, it doesn't look like they're surreptitiously like, I'm stealing the boats.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. So you and Captain Salhana come back inside, and come into the camp. And I think we see a shot of the group of you as the gates kind of close behind you. Captain Salhana looks nervously at you, and then your viewpoint swings around and you see the tent. And just before Commander Breakbone emerges from the tent, let's take a break.
Okay.
All right. Stick around. We'll be back with one more hour of Roll20 Presents Tomb of Annihilation. Hello, everybody, and welcome back. Going into the conclusion of today's episode of Roll20 Presents Tomb of Annihilation, or Camp of Annihilation in this case. Let's see how it goes, shall we? Let's see how Arcturus's little conversation with Commander Breakbone. So Arcturus, set the scene for me. Give me what your character like. What do you look like? Are you looking nervous? Are you looking stalwart? What's the?
Arcturus is looking nervous. He's not. He knows, like I said yesterday, he knows that he's coming into this not having done what the commander wanted them to do. That he doesn't really have any kind of power in terms of like negotiating in the commander's eyes. Like the commander's not gonna take anything he has to say, really. So he's nervous. He's nervous that he's not gonna be able to get his friends out of the cage and gonna be stuck here forcibly working for them forever. Very nervous. He's probably like, like wringing his hands a little bit and like doing that thing like where people move just a little bit like jerkier than they ordinarily do. But like also like, well, it looks pretty much the same as we left it, so that's good. Yeah. Not like talking up like positive, like being like, okay, everything looks fine, nothing burned down, like everything, this will be okay.
So the tent opens, the flaps of the tent open, and Commander Breakbone steps out, and he squints a little at the sun, puts his hand up, and the captain like salutes him, and he salutes the captain, and he says, well, you're back sooner than I anticipated, Captain. Did you find our missing men? And the captain is like, no, sir. Well, did you try, Captain Salhana? She shakes her head. No, sir, we turned around. And he says, so why have you returned? And he turns his attention on you, Arcturus, and he says, have you come to join your friends?
Actually, I would prefer not to.
Then what are you doing here?
You see, you sent... How many men did we have with us? Like
5, plus the 4 of you, or 3 of you.
Yeah, you sent 8 into the jungle, and with 6, we were just... our guide led us astray, and in order to accomplish the task you set before us, we need them back.
Were you or were you not aware that your friends were assassins?
What?
Yes. Interesting, isn't it? Last night, when I was with some guests, one of them tried to kill me with magic.
That doesn't sound right.
Yes, it doesn't at all, does it? I'm lucky to be alive. And he like looks kind of past you at the gate, and he says they came in here and began berating my guest, and then tried to kill us all. There was a scuffle, but thankfully, we were able to subdue them.
So the one with the magic tried to kill you, not the one with the hammer.
He shakes his head and he says, this kind of behavior I expect from your kind, but...
Have you ever actually met another Triton, though? Honest, sir.
Yeah, you get nudged, like, shut up. The captain, nudges you, and he says, he continues without even really missing a beat. He just says, but to have another human being attempt to take my life, why, it's a surprise. Though I suppose, and he like folds his hands over his chest, I suppose it shouldn't have surprised me, given his lineage. Those desert nomads, they're just as bad as the people that live in the jungle. You can't trust them if they weren't raised in the city. Or a farm, at least.
You know, talking about your prejudices would be so entertaining to me, but there's no chance then on getting them out of.
There is only one way for them to escape that cell, and that's under the guidance of Tyr's justice, which I anticipate we will have meted out properly when we return them to Port Nyanzaru.
So, who takes that task in hand?
Ordinarily, it requires a conclave. I was hoping, and he looks at his captain, that the captains and I could pass summary judgment. But since they were not witness to the crime, and since there's so much else to do, I've decided to keep them locked up until we can take them out of this place. We'll ship them back to the port, deal with them there, or at worst, send them back to Am. It could take several months, and, well, the chances of them dying in the journey is significant, but the gods deal out their justice in many ways.
You know, I have a god too, and
he laughs. He laughs in your face. He's like, "Ha! What? You're a god of the sea? I think not. There is only one god of justice, and his name is Tyr."
Certainly. Well, do you have other men that could help us complete your mission to
He shakes his head and he says, "I've given up on that. Those men in the jungle are dead. I've made a deal that's going to ensure that we get the reinforcements that we need. Now all we have to do is wait. And as for you," and he grins, and he says, "I can see no reason to let you leave, especially when I have men here who are still sick."
Well, half as many as before, at least. Right. I'll go help Sister Sias then, will I?
He nods. "See that you do." And he turns to the captain and he says, "Captain Salhana, I'd like to speak with you in my tent, please." And he turns around, and one of the guards like opens the tent for him, and he goes back inside, and she goes in with him.
And I think that I'm gonna like skirt past the medical tent once he goes inside.
Yeah, the Captain Salhana gives you a look like, "I'm gonna try. Like, I'm gonna talk to him. I'll see what I can do.
Yeah.
Just don't get in trouble." And so you slip away. And yeah, do you do that thing where you're like whistling and like like I'm walking over to the tube and go around the tent?
I think I'm a little too nervous to whistle, but yes.
Can fishmen even whistle?
Yeah, I'm just like going around this side.
Yoink. All right.
And trying to at least like get within.
Yeah, I mean, you see the cage battered and bent as it is. You see a couple of guards, as well as the one up on the post, and the cage is very full.
Right. I think that I would go up to the cage and be like,
Well, so you approach the cage, and the guard puts a spear out in front of you.
Right.
And he says, "But hold there. Where are you going?"
"I was just checking to make sure that the prisoners aren't injured. I'm a healer, you know." And
he shakes his head. He said, he looks over his shoulder and says, "They're going to be fine. Besides, they attacked the commander."
I heard horrible thing that.
Shouldn't you be in the medical tent?
Oh, but I was that medical in there. Malik doesn't look well.
Yeah, we look over. Malik, what do you look like when the camera pans over? Malik doesn't look well when we pan over to you.
Yeah. I mean, robes, just like most of like the top of them and the shoulders and stuff are all like covered in blood, and he's got like bruises on his face and black eye. And he shouts back, "No, I'm fine. I obviously tried to kill the commander. Apparently that's what happened now."
It is my task to heal the injured, and I am helping Sister Sias. But I don't even have to go in the cage. I can do it from out here. Just
make a persuasion check.
yeah. Did I click it? Yeah, I did click it. 14.
Nice. All right. Well, he kind of looks at you and he says, "Well, scriptures say that even the least among us should be hale of body before meeting justice." And he shrugs and he says, "Just no funny business. I'm gonna be watching you."
That's absolutely, totally fine. Just healer, me.
So
And yeah, so I go to the side of the cage. And I'm like, you look, do you need, and like, there's this like sound of water sloshing a little bit. Like that's probably like one of the components of the spell that I like half cast. Like I'm like,
No, I'm fine. I'm no use to anybody without my components anyway. Don't waste the magic.
But are you up to full HP?
No.
No, but he says that.
I mean, but I think like having said that I'm here to heal you guys, that's probably
this is the CRPG dialogue tree where you click, "Are you up to full HP?" but the character says something different in character.
Yeah, but the thing is that I said that I was here to heal you.
This is the cover, yeah.
I would do that anyway, even if you're like, no, I'm fine. Like, I'll just be like,
that's fine. You can still heal me. That's fine.
And I don't speak anything that's not common. Do you speak Dwarven? Would I know that if you did? No. Fudge nuggets. I don't have much in terms of being subterfuge.
I do speak Dwarven.
Turns out
you speak Dwarven. I think that, so I'm doing
this is the part of that epic where you throw a feather in the sky and then the Aarakocra come flying down to save you.
Yeah, so I'm doing the like verbal, and there's a somatic component of cure wounds. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So I'm like doing the da, 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 and then like I say that, but I'm still making the hand motions for cure wounds, like whatever like sloshing weird like wavy shit I do. Mm-hmm. And then I say in Dwarven, I'm not as good at talking as you or as strong as Little Fox. I don't know if I can get you out of here. How do I help?
I say back in Dwarven, I say, encourage the mutiny. I think that's the only thing that can happen here.
Right. Courage and mutiny. Perfect. That's definitely right. Okay. And then I like stand up as though I'm done, and I look over to Little Fox. Are you injured as well?
Little Fox is hog-tied in the back of the cage.
She's tied up, and she's just like not making eye contact with anyone. She's very, very angry. This is like fundamentally like unbearable for her.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I don't have a dagger or anything. I don't have anything. Can't really help you.
Yeah, no, it's fine.
But like, if I look at you,
just another traumatic experience.
You look injured?
Oh no, her like body is fine.
Okay. What about Artis?
Artis just looks exhausted.
Right.
Yeah, just tired.
Okay. Then I would. This is only up to a minute. That wouldn't help at all. Yeah. I think I say I'll make sure that I'll make sure that they feed you, and I'm gonna go, and I look at the guards, go back to the tent to heal people, because I'm a healer. That's yep. And like back off and be like, And yeah, like Arcturus isn't the person that you would want on the outside of this cage.
Okay. So Arcturus, we follow you back to the healing tent. and you open it up, and there's still some sick people in there. And they're burning a kind of like incense in the tent, and Sister Sias has a like something tied around her face, as does one of her acolyte, but none of the sick people do. So there's like cone of incense, and there's like thick smoke. And you make a medicine check to smell, recognize the smell.
Medicine. 18.
Nice. Okay. Yeah, you don't recognize it exactly, but it's a narcotic of some kind. Like it's keeping them like drugged, basically. They did not have this the last time you were here.
And I like cover my face, and I'd be like, "What's this then?"
She looks up, surprised, and she's like, "Close the tent. Keeps the smoke in."
Sorry. Yes. Right. What?
So you close it, and she comes up, and she says, "Actually, I need a break. Come outside." And she like grabs you and pulls you outside, and closes the tent. Yeah, there's a little plume of smoke, and she's like,
"Did you get resupplied?"
She shakes her head. Not exactly. We had some visitors last night.
I'm aware.
Your friends got into some trouble.
I am aware.
But they traded something with the commander, left some of this behind. I mean, technically it's not meant for this use, but it's easing the pain of some of the men. Getting me a little foggy-headed too, but it's working. And the commander promises that there's going to be reinforcements, that we're going to get out of here soon.
That's... I'm not one to be a pessimist, but I feel that that's unlikely.
Why?
You're talking about the woman that was here.
She nods. Yes, the prisoner, or Arthas or something. He had something that she wanted.
She told me, what I believe is probably a lie, that he was related to her. And she also said that I don't think that she's really a nice person. And I doubt that she's intending to send any reinforcements, no matter what she told your commander.
She blinks at you, and her eyes are kind of bloodshot, and she's like, well, it's not it's not that. I don't think she's not a nice person. Listen, you don't get through life expecting everyone that helps you to be a nice person. She did it for a reason. She got what she wanted from the prisoner, and she gave the commander some supplies. Some of these men are going to survive because of... Listen, we've bought ourselves some time. We have some more supplies. And whether or not she tells anybody that we're out here, she puts her hands up, it at least eases the pain of some of these men.
Right.
And that's enough.
Of course. I don't know what she was here for, what the trade occurred. I'm glad that no one died. But I'm also... I want to help you, but I can't leave my friends in that cage. And I can't leave them to starve and die waiting.
You need to get some new friends. Listen, they tried to kill the commander, far as I heard it. That's not okay. I mean, the other two, they'll likely just get put in jail for a couple of years, but your friends, especially that wizard, he's got a dark fate ahead of him.
I hear this, who said that they tried to kill the commander? Because that just doesn't seem like them.
I mean, that's what the commander said, and I'm pretty sure... Listen, Breakbone's got a stick up his ass a yard long, but he's not blind. So why did you come back? You could have just left. If you're here for your friends, it's a fool's errand. But if you're here to help... She looks back at the tent.
Of course, I remain at the same task that I was before I left. I want to help you heal these men, and then I intend to leave. But I don't want that to be with my friends on an executioner's block.
Well, they won't be executed. I mean, they didn't actually kill anybody. They just tried to.
The commander seems to think that death is almost certain. What with the journey from here to Nyanzaru being so perilous.
Well, that's a whole other thing, isn't it? But it won't...
Who is it that would ordinarily take these men Artis and all of them to the port?
Well, see, it's kind of unclear. We're an expeditionary force. We're here to establish a base. The protocols for justice require a conclave, a tribunal, but we don't have one of those. A priest of each of the major gods, but legally, it all just falls to the commander. He becomes ordained de facto.
So the commander takes the men to the port.
The commander could have them all executed now, but I don't think he wants that. Bad for morale, beheadings.
Of course. I would like to work within the law, but I don't know it. And it seems like there is no true legal proceeding here other than the commander's say so. But that, unfortunately, doesn't sit well with me, with, Cage and...
She says it's hard to see your friends in chains, I know. But they did a bad thing and have to answer for it. Unless you could find some way to, I don't know, convince the commander to let them go. But I have too much on my mind already. I'm sorry. I have dying men I need to tend to.
I understand. Thank you. I'll maybe one of the other captains can advise me with regards to the legal proceedings. I'll be back to help with restoration after the smoke clears.
She nods and she goes back inside. She pulls her bandana up and ties it again and goes back in.
I want to see if I can talk one of the people that has some kind of say so into what Arcturus would see as a fair trial, or maybe being part of the group that takes them up to Nianzaru, or that would be the way he would probably go about it.
Yeah, so the order of the Gauntlet is founded on the precepts of the gods Torm, Tyr, and Helm. And the way they do justice, right, is that if there's a trial, there's no trial by jury, no trial by your peers. It's 3 priests or clerics or whatever, one of each of them that passes judgment.
Right.
And then in the absence of those 3, the commanding officer becomes sort of de facto like Judge Dredd, right? He acts as all 3. So he just gets to make those decisions. So that's the law. If he's like, yes, they're guilty, take them away, there likely would be indentured servitude or prison, but there's no prisons in Chult, so they would have to get shipped home.
Right.
Thrown in a prison into Tyr or something.
I just God, I'm not a prison break person. I can't prison break. And
so the way to do it here would be convince Commander Breakbone that they didn't do anything wrong. Go at it, not the prison break style, but go at it as a lawyer. Get some people to talk for you, and go find out what happened.
So Salhana is talking to him right now. Maybe I can go find Firebeard or whatever.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
And
so you want to go out into the camp and try to find him?
Yeah, see if he saw anything.
So while you're doing that, let's cut back to the cage. Now these guards are just kind of around. They're not really listening in. So you're able to talk quietly, or whatever. So Artis has his back to the cage. He's kind of cramped down. Dragonbait is standing, looking out kind of at the sky, because it's a clear day for once in forever. The whole cage, I think, probably smells like ham again. You're in the ham cage. It smells like baked ham. And Malik, Artis is looking at you. And you can see him, you catch him, I guess, kind of staring at you.
Yes.
He blinks. He's like, oh, sorry. Not a lot to look at around here. Besides his ugly mug. And he says, so, I bet you're really regretting walking in through those gates, huh?
Malik looks down at Lil Fox and says, on one hand, of course, being in this situation, but on the other, if I knew how bad the situation was here for these people, how hopeless it all seemed, I don't think I could have let it be either way. Shouldn't have dragged everyone else into this personal crusade, though.
And he says, he's like, yeah, you sound like dragon bait. God, he's always going on about, oh, save the helpless this and protect the weak that. Terrible influence. And Dragon Bait just kind of scowls at him, and he says, you know, it wasn't always like this. Like, Chult, I mean, the jungle. I mean, yeah, if you live in Waterdeep or Cormier or something, you come down here, you get mosquitoes in your underpants, you're not going to have a good time. But there were cities in the jungle, beautiful cities. And he like sighs, and you can tell like he's remembering something. And he says,
hold on. That would have been... How old are you?
And he looks at you and he says, older than I look. Probably about as old as I feel today. And he looks at his hand again. He's like,
Yep.
It's like missing a tooth, you know? You don't really notice it till it's gone.
Can't say I've ever had anything that powerful, personally.
And he looks at you and he says, like changing the subject, he's like, you're from the Anarok, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Beautiful place. God, I'd kill for some desert right now. Though, of course, you get me there, fill my boots with sand. I'm going to be complaining in a minute, but I haven't been there in an age. There were these Netherese ruins. You're like, it's a bad idea getting nostalgic. He looks around, he's like, that's the thing that happens. You know, you see things, spend enough time wandering around the realms. It's pretty easy to get caught up in where you aren't. Lose track of, and he like bangs on the cage. Situation you're in.
Yep, Malik nods. He says, well, why are you in this situation then?
He chuckles. Which one? The cage? Chult? Try me.
I don't know. Work backwards.
It's a long, long story, but you know, it sounds a lot more heroic in my head, but you can nail it down to I'm looking to make right. I did something a long time ago I shouldn't have, and this is the only place I can make it better. You know, I thought coming here would help, but trouble's got a way of following you, you know?
So you know about the curse?
He shakes his head. Which one, buddy?
The death one. People not quite coming back to life.
No, can't say I'm familiar with it. Is that what you're doing here? You two on a quest?
Yeah, all four of us are. Find out why. What is causing it.
So what are you doing here? The camp, I mean.
Well, wrong place at the wrong time, I suppose. We're heading out westerways. Apparently an oracle, a seer, a wise woman, might know something more about what's going on here in general.
So when you say that, his eyes widen a little and he doesn't interrupt you because he's listening so hard. What's the name of the place you guys are going?
Oh, I
Oralunga?
can't remember without looking at the map.
Oralunga or Mbala.
I think it's Oralunga. And he blinks. He's like, wait, do you know do you know where it is? And he like leans forward to like grab you seriously, but there's no room in the cage, so he just bumps his own knees, and he leans in, and he's like, Orlunga, you know where it is?
I do. My map's not here.
And he grins. He's like, oh hells, well now we got to get you out of this cage. And he looks at Dragonbait, and the smell in the place has changed. I need like a macro that shows me all of his smells. The smell has changed to brimstone. And he turns and he's like, no, see, they know where it is. We can find the sage. And then, yeah, I'll get the ring back, obviously. But this is too good to pass up. Ah, Timora, thank you. And he looks at you and he's like, yeah, we got to get out of here. And then me and Dragonbait, we're going with you to Orlunga.
Well, as encouraging as that is, as much as I look forward to it, it's still the whole matter of, well, I don't know if crazy is quite the right word, but zealous, perhaps.
And he stands up and he looks over at Dragonbait. He like sniffs here and looks at Dragonbait. And he's like, well, don't you understand? No, see, if we can just ask the sage where she went. That's right. 2 birds with 1 stone. And he like punches him in the shoulder, and Dragonbait like kind of like bares his teeth. And he's like, okay, buddy, put the teeth away. And he turns to the guard and he's like, hey, you got to let us out of here. And he just starts kind of like yammering at the guard. And we crossfade over to Arcturus. And Arcturus, you went to find Firebeard. You're muted again, Blue Jay. But your software muted this time, I think.
It's come to my attention that, I mean, I just don't know the cleric class well enough.
Okay.
That I actually have a spell, Zone of Truth, that could like, if like, I guess I want to convince Firebeard to convince the captain to let me like Zone of Truth Malik and like be like, yo, this is I feel like having someone else be like, okay, like you say that he was trying to kill you. He's convinced that he's not. Can we? I just want him to be like, okay, like I have a spell. Can you tell the captain to like? Because it's a spell that people would be familiar with, right?
No, but Sister Sias would. So
Sister
this is the like using a psychic in legal proceedings. You need 2 psychics, right? One to read the person and one to read the psychic. So if you cast Zone of Truth, Sister Sias as a divine caster would be able to recognize the somatic material and verbal components and be able to confirm, yes, Commander, we are now in a zone of truth where no one can lie. And then you could just get it all out in the open.
Yeah, so I guess I would want, like, I guess, because I didn't know, like, personally that was something that I could do. Sure. I wasn't thinking about it. But I guess then, like, fictionally, I wanted to get Firebeard there as well because he's, like, also one of the, like, ranking officers here, and he kind of likes us. So, but maybe, like, backtrack and say, like, that was my intention, was getting, like, all of the leader people into one place.
Well, and I think that's kind of a good place to end, because it gives us a really strong start for next time, because you can go and get all the captains together and the commander and Sister Sias and be like, yo, let's hold a trial, like let's do the thing. Yeah, I like that plan. And then we can find out what Ishii was doing this whole time, hiding in the latrines perhaps. Okay, cool. So let's stop there. Let's put the session to bed here. And at the beginning of the next episode, we'll have the trial of Malik, and we'll see how all that goes and see if you can escape. And if you can, you got your buddy. Hopefully, you can get Artis and Dragonbait off the hook, because they're in for a different crime. So they would be an additional bonus. Mm-hmm. Yep. Cool. All right. So so we'll be back next week with more Dungeons and Dragons, more Tomb of Annihilation. Thanks for coming, everybody. God, I love playing this game. This session was, for me, as the GM, all over the place, because there are little things that I've put in play, but then all of a sudden there was a bunch of them all at once, and multiple times during this episode I was like, I have no idea what the hell is going to happen. So we're just gonna think on our feet and see what goes on. So yeah, I'm really excited to keep playing. I'm always super hyped to play again. In the meantime, between now and then, if folks want to check out the things that y'all are up to, where can they do that? Why don't you start us off, Arcturus?
Hi. I'm Blue Jay. You can find me most of the days on twitch.tv/BlueJay, or when I'm not live on Twitter at BlueJay_712. You can also find me and these other nerds on Thursdays on twitch.tv/Roll20 app doing some Burning Wheel. And yeah, this weekend I guess we're going to try and finish Bloodborne.
Hell
Adam?
yeah, let's do it.
Yeah. Or, axe sounds.
Axe, whatever sound an axe makes.
Whatever sound an axe makes.
Chomp. There's a Japanese sound effect for it. I don't know what it is, but it exists. Cool. Dave?
Yep. Hello, everyone. Thanks for coming and watching, as always. Yeah, this was also a very odd episode of what it was I wanted to do. Then I made a decision. Now I regret the decision. And that's the thing about spellcasters. When you're like, yeah, and then you go back through and you're like, wait, what spell did they cast? Okay, what level is that? No, that wasn't ever going to go well for me. Wasn't it? But got to play to how your character's going to be sometimes.
One thing I really like about playing 5th edition D&D with Dave is that I can be like, he attacks you with a spear, and then Dave is like, all right, he's got a spear, he's got a +3 to attack. Oh, he's a guard, he's got this much AC. I hit him with this spell, and I'm like...
Happen.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. If you want to follow my stuff, it's Dave_the_human on Twitter and Dave_human on Twitch. I had to reschedule the design stream for 5th edition Summoner stuff from earlier today to tomorrow. So feel free to follow me on either of those and see when that's going to happen.
Nice. Yeah, I've watched a fair bit of that stuff that you've been working on. It's very cool. Dave is making a class for 5e. It's really neat watching that stuff get built. Yeah, pretty sweet. Yeah, so definitely check that out. And then last but not least for today, Lil Fox, our angry gentle giant, except when she's not.
Not all that gentle.
Not so much.
I'm Andrew. You can follow me on Twitter at @CommutingCrow or on twitch.tv/actualfactual. I've got a bunch of stuff lined up for January, which is fast approaching. But most notably, the 5.0, the beta version of my role-playing game Girl by Moonlight will be getting published in January, like put out for testing. So if you're into that, you can check that out. Just keep an eye on my Twitter.
Cool. Thank you. Thanks, everybody. We will be back at full party strength next time. So we'll replace this photograph of Ishi Snaggletooth with the actual Ishi Snaggletooth. You can, as everybody else said, you can check us out on Thursdays at twitch.tv/Roll20 app. And my name's Adam Coble. I am the Dungeon Master of this silliness. And you can find me at twitch.tv/Adam Coble or on Twitter at Skinny Ghost. I take photos, I stream video games, and I play role-playing games and talk about them. So check out all that stuff.
Nothing of heart at the moment, though.
What's that?
R18.
Yep. So we will see all of you next time. Thank you so much for coming. We'll see you for episode 13. Stick around, because as I understand it, there are some dragon friends who would love your attention. So if you want some more of that killer Dungeons & Dragons content, stick around for that. We'll see you next week. Bye, everybody. See you later. Bye. Send your adventuring party deep into the jungles of Chult. The Roll20 module of Tomb of Annihilation includes the full contents of the original D&D book and adds immersive features like dynamic lighting on all battle maps, character sheets with one-click actions, copy and paste quick encounters, and other interactive features like puzzles and a player's map of Chult. Your next campaign can begin with just a few clicks. Get your copy today on the Roll20 Marketplace.